Let me pull it to you. Let me
We're
pull it to
streaming
you.
now. All right.
Oh my goodness. We're
Allegedly.
streaming. Oh dear.
All right. I think we're live, everybody. Hello there, lords and ladies in there. If we are live, welcome back to this episode 45 of the Council of Candor. 46. I made that. I joked about making that mistake earlier, and of course I made it now.
We are live.
We are live.
Excellent. So today we're going to be having a welcome back to this interesting episode.
Hey, kid. Hey,
yes.
Before you go on, the OBS is screwing on the left side.
Yeah,
you've got Wendicoom and Project Zomboid.
Yeah, it's all right. That's my I see it now. That's my that's what. So, chat, in case you're wondering, a little bit behind the scenes, what I do in order to make sure that the stream doesn't go totally haywire is I will open up a window of YouTube, play a video, then mute it so that way the chat is perfectly live and fresh, straight from the source of YouTube. Obviously, I forgot to click over to the live stream of that other one, so apologies, chat.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a way to do it.
Yeah, because there's a button in OBS that lets you stream the OBS stuff. And it's cool, but I don't trust it. Because I've had too many times when OBS has decided, nah, man, I'm drunk today.
Fair enough.
You know, I mean, how many times did it constantly decide to turn my microphone settings on and off?
Yes.
So, chat should be loading in a second. Again, sorry, I'm going to make sure I set it from top chat to live chat. I want all your lovely slurs. Yes, you suck it losers wouldn't have shown up in the other chat. Because YouTube wants to protect the small children from fun.
Yeah, from the fun of sucking it.
Exactly. And all right, so yes, hello everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's a bit of a special episode, a bit of an oddball episode. I know we've been gone for a few weeks, and I'm sorry about that. I've been having to help my mom with some stuff. She's recovering from her cancer treatment. She's doing great, by the way. Thank you all for the well wishes and prayers. But now we're getting back into it. And with the absolutely garbage live-action Snow White movie coming out recently, and everybody wanted to crap on it, and everybody wanted to talk about how much they dislike it, I thought, how great would it be if I had to subject my best friends to watching that film? Then I realized, well, what if we did something a bit better? What if instead of talking about the movie, because you heard how bad it is, you can go watch Drinker and Mauler and Little Platoon rip into it. You know exactly what you're getting into. You don't need me to tell you how awful it is. So instead today, we're going to do something else. We are going to go back to the source. What is one of the first live-action remakes Disney did? The first one I found out is Jungle Book from '94. I don't remember ever seeing that, and I don't remember that having an impact. I haven't even looked into that film. Go ahead, Pops.
It was not that great. It was nothing special. It's not really even worth checking out.
Yeah,
because it was like even before like CGI was like anywhere near good. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like their hands were tied as far as making it like. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I mean, they have like puppets for the Panther.
It's hard to characterize, the characters they had with the resources that they had. It can be done, but it wasn't great.
Yeah. And also, give me. I think Dez said he's ready to rejoin now, so we can have him in. Very good.
Oh, all right.
The illustrious Dez.
I'll get that going, kid. Don't worry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I also definitely didn't mess with the title, guys. Don't worry, chat. Definitely.
Oh, it is still Cock 45.
And it's not just that; it's designing fantasy creatures, which we're not doing.
Yes, we are. Sure, we are.
There we go. Is that the real Dez? Yep, that's Dez. Yep.
Hello.
Dez, yeah, you're coming through. Can anyone check the YouTube? What do we think, chat? Is it
not coming through on my end at all? Interesting.
Have you muted him for yourself? Go look in Discord.
That's funny. Yeah. So sick of Dez. Just killed him in real life.
Base.
There we go.
Yeah, you literally on stream you can see that you just have me muted.
That is very funny.
You can literally see it on stream. It's not even like you were hiding it. Like, I don't know how we didn't figure this out.
Sometimes Dez is so annoying that you just have to, you got to do what you got to do.
My mind
I'm
was
sorry,
saving me the
sometimes?
mental trauma by automatically putting it there.
I'm sorry, sometimes? Always. Okay.
Only sometimes. Only sometimes.
Okay.
We love Dez here, don't we, folks? We love here. Dez. Yeah.
Interesting. YouTube has decided to adjust itself by half a micrometer.
Anywho, so yeah, talking about terrible live action remakes, just absolutely god awful.
So there are most of the ones that were like a part of my childhood growing up, I would say they were quality. Like they weren't trying to espouse weird things that I don't necessarily agree with as an adult today. Like the way that, like, you know, the newer Cruella movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that one was ridiculous. Like the whole like concept and backstory of it was like, why are we doing this? Like, what is it about this character that makes you guys think like this is who we need to portray as like a hero, you know? And you remember when we were rewatching 102 Dalmatians, part of it was like that Cruella is very like almost beyond redemption, almost to the point that it's a flaw in the movie.
He's so.
I would say that about this one. I would say that about this one for sure.
Are we getting ahead of ourselves? Am I getting
a little bit? But don't worry,
we'll
get into it in a sec. By the way,
I was gonna say for the opening ones, isn't the it's not Tarzan, it's other guy.
Jungle Book?
Was Kid, what was the first live action one? You said it was
Jungle Book, yeah.
It was Jungle Book?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was no live action Tarzan until like what, 2018?
At least Jungle Book.
There's still no live action Tarzans.
Oh wait, Tarzan. Wait.
When's the Jungle Book? When was the Jungle Book one?
Allegedly, it was 94. I haven't confirmed it. I was reading online a little bit beforehand.
Tarzan.
And I was just trying to say I couldn't have a chance to look into it because I thought this was the first one.
I mean, this being 96 would be the second one, right?
Yeah,
surely.
I don't remember.
It'd be right around early on. Yeah.
The thing I remember, the thing I remember for the George of the Jungle. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm not thinking.
That makes sense.
Like I knew it wasn't Tarzan. I knew it was Tarzan adjacent. That's what I remembered.
George of the Jungle is Tarzan adjacent. You're right. Anyway,
I was gonna say George of the Jungle has Brendan Fraser, wasn't it?
Yes,
I do love it.
And that is the film that ruined him as an actor, or one of the films.
No, he's great.
That's one of the. That is one of the two films that made Hollywood say, "We don't like this man anymore. Kill him. Yeah. We don't care about him until he makes The Whale. Now we suddenly pretend we care about him again because the internet cares about him, and we need to maintain relevancy."
Yeah, no, I gotta say he is absolutely a great actor. So like everything that he's in, he's like the man in that thing, whether it's The Mummy or like Goofy, George of the Jungle, or The Whale, where it's all sentimental and, you know, he's all kind of messed up looking now anyway. He's great, but I get what you mean.
I can see a 2016 remake. I can't see any like 94 Jungle Book.
So I could have been lied to. Again, I was going off rope, but I was pretty sure before that this was the first one. And because this is the first one, I figured it would really behoove everybody to come back and see what were the original versions of these like.
It is. I remember that was a book that we got at the public library on VHS when I was a child. Yeah. It might not be Disney specifically, but the Jungle Book story existed. I swear, I know exactly what movie.
Yeah, it is. It's called Rudyard Kipling, The Jungle Book. They tried to set it a little bit apart from what the internet says.
Yeah,
but Disney produced.
Anyway, yeah. So going all the way back to the original, we find this and the Jungle Book, and we find that these also garbage. It was just garbage from the start. You know, you dig down in the refuse pile, and what you find is just more corpses.
Say garbage because I would say that we'll get into these two films as we get into it. I'd say that they're just mediocre. They're normal. They don't do the second one's obviously a bit more interesting, but these films' worst sin is that they're almost forgettable, which is a bad thing considering what they're remaking. But it is a complete difference from the modern ones, which is what Pops and me were talking about, which sparked this podcast of saying, "Yo, these live action remakes are like East Pop said, awful. They're espousing messages that I don't agree with. They're trying to, talk about and, pull the culture in a direction that most people find abhorrent. And also, they have weird, like, villainous morality systems. And it's all sparked, for me from the Snow White film. And I realized, were they ever good? Were they ever worth watching? Has there ever been a live action remake that is actually worth looking into? A lot of people said that the 101 Dalmatians was one of the best ones. I'm actually inclined to believe them. I'm also pretty sure that if you are okay with some changes that the Beauty and the Beast one, it might be good too. But this one was as faithful as
No.
That
was where it started going downhill. Was the Beauty and the Beast one?
That's what I was going to say. That's why I was going to give that one a bit of contentiousness because I've
I don't
heard
know.
from multiple people that one is both better and worse because it's a remake, like you said, that changes things, but like maybe it changes things for the better. I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
I don't know if I even agree because I feel like the Death Nail was like almost when it started getting real traction with like Maleficent. Like I feel like the blueprint for like everything with these remakes is in Maleficent.
Sure.
Wait, Des, I think you're right. I think we talked about that the other.
Yeah, we talked about the other day. Yeah,
like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and I looked up. I think Maleficent was 2011, and then the Beauty and the Beast was like 2013. So yeah, either way. Yeah,
I thought Beauty and the Beast was later than that. Is it really 2013?
I'm not sure, but I remember I looked it up, and I think when we mentioned Maleficent, I was like, oh, that was probably the first one. Whichever one of those it was, it kind of like started to.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast was
like it kind of like turned into another direction as far as like the themes and the fact that they were like being sympathetic to these people who were like classic fantasy like villains, like very much like these people are not good.
Exactly. I mean, you look at the original, it's like, oh, she just wants it's like classical like witch or like evil behavior of like you spited me personally in like a minor way. So like now I'm going to kill this random like your daughter. Like screw off. Like classical evil spirit thing. And then like in the new one it's like actually the king was like some peasant dude that she like screwed, but he became king because he betrayed her. And that's why she's actually
they recontextualize it so that they aren't.
And then it's like actually she was stalking Sleeping Beauty, and she's kind of sad about the fact that she cursed her at birth, and she's like trying to stop her. I'm pretty sure, like stop the curse at some point. If I remember correctly.
That's another plot point that a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
To be fair,
I mean, I won't
be in lesbians with Angelina Jolie, so I can see it.
Yeah, who wouldn't be? I'm not gonna lie, like the like extremely pro family messaging that's in this movie is definitely a breath of fresh air.
Surprised by like both of both of them just extreme like pro fan. Like it was so funny just watching like Cruella de Vil, and then like just I talked about this earlier, Pops, and probably I don't know if we want to get into it now. Or like when we get
I'm going to say one last thing before we get into it, before we fully dive in. I got a treat for chat. I don't have the subtitles, and you're going to see some interesting, let's just say, artifacts on screen. But I have the video file ready to play of the movie. It should allegedly be playing. It'll play both films if we go that long.
I don't think we'll go that long.
The second one does have subtitles if we do get there. So.
Are they French?
Yeah. No, they're actually in English. When we watched it together earlier today, Pops, I had OBS recording the stream that I was streaming to you, so I could actually use the video file for here.
There are currently no artifacts on screen. It is just the movie.
That's hang on. I gotta put the
you gotta get the overlay on. Yeah.
Thankfully, I could pause it on this in a sec. There is something. Where's the Doge NFT? There he is, my savior.
But so it's like the whole fact that the movie is like pro family, and I agree with that. It's neat, right? It's neat that that this movie is for me, messaging wise, like message wise. You know what I mean? But just because it's for me, just because yeah, just because they're preaching what I like, doesn't mean that I like am gonna just be like, oh yeah, this movie's good, because it's not. It's not a good movie. It's
Well, dude,
All
it's
right.
like there's puppies, bro. There's
there
like
are
100
puppies. It's a very
puppies.
cute movie. It's an extremely cute movie. Before we go on, all right, guys, ratings out of 10. Beginning before we go in, I
Oh,
give this movie a 4 out of 10. That's
give it
okay,
that's
a 4.
okay. I'm not even gonna get mad for like anyone giving it a low rating, but like I have to just complete personal bias. I love this movie and the sequel because it was just one of those things that I grew up like my childhood. I must have watched these movies like dozens of times.
Mhm.
So like in my head, when I rewatch it, it's like I can't hate it. So it's got to be like 6.5 plus for me.
That's
But
fair.
First
it's
one,
yeah,
the first
but
one I'd
like I
say
understand.
4. The
I
second one I'd
understand.
probably say like 6, because like the 6 has like the Disney Channel vibes. So like
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
a completely
second one,
different standard. Like you can't judge a Disney Channel movie on like
yeah,
the
I would
original.
say
But I
that.
also think that his enjoyment factor is much higher in the second one, which we'll get into why.
I agree.
I don't know because the second one I felt like it was kind of like the way that I look at most like sequels that kind of are like this. It appeals too much to an immature audience and it becomes like overly cartoonish versus the first one, which draws on like the classic, like the book, like
I
the
think
book
that I
and the
Mhm.
whole.
think it very much is in the. I don't agree generally with that, but I do think it's like in terms of like Disney, like classical Disney movies, it is very much in the vein of like Cinderella versus like when you get to Cinderella 2 and 3, or you get to like Aladdin 2 or 3, or you get to like I don't know, there's other examples like
Well, yeah,
Ariel
yeah,
or
yeah. That's
My Little
basically
Mermaid 1 and 2, like the first one, of
that's
course, was in theaters. The second one's direct to DVD plus like VHS.
yeah,
So like
yeah.
you can tell.
That's basically the sentiment that I'm trying to explain here. But still, I watched them so many times that as a kid that I'm like, I can't hate on this one. But
Yeah,
you
you
pointed
can't
out
take
like
the
the
rose-colored glasses
parts
off.
the parts where like the puppy was CGI. When you
Mhm.
pointed that out today, it did like break it for me. It really
When
did
I
mess.
saw that dog, I
That was
still don't
like,
know. Is that
oh
dog like
wait,
ever
no.
real? That
Yeah,
white dog,
we're
I don't
talking about the
think it's a
second
real
film,
white
I
by the
was
way,
dog.
like,
guys.
oh no.
And
So I want to do say because my rating, I think I'd give the first
yeah,
one a 5 out of 10, very solid. I think that and I want to explain my 5 out of 10. That's not a bad rating. That means it's an average film. There are so many films that fail to get to a 5 out of 10 on average. Most films
Mhm.
in my rankings do get to 5 out of 10 because that's where they belong. I think the second one gets to a 6 out of 10 because it's a little bit funnier, and I think some of the just the sheer insanity in the second film amps it up for me. I like it when people take concepts and go a little bit crazier with them. I feel like the first film, ironically, feels almost like it's playing it safe with some of the stuff that
The,
happens, even though
the
the first film
the
still got some
first
wild
one's absolutely
shenanigans.
safer.
But compared to
The
the
first
yeah,
second film, it's way safer.
yeah. The
I agree.
first one doesn't feel like cartoonish. I mean, at parts it
No,
does. I'm not
no.
gonna lie. At parts it does, but at a lot of it doesn't. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that they have these long sequences of the dogs doing things, and there's no real dialogue, and they're just kind of doing dog things. Um, which it just kind of feels like a commercial for whoever trained these dogs. Like I know whoever trained these dogs for this
Wait,
movie.
no. No, that's all that's supposed to that entire thing is what's the word juxtaposed with the argument that we constantly see from the Dr. House guy and Cruella de Vil about how animals are stupid and animals are useless and only good for meat and pelts and whatnot
Oh yeah,
versus the
yeah.
themselves being like smart. And there's a scene where they have the Dr. House guy, spoiler, they're like trudging through the farm field and he's like humans are superior to animals, and like the very next scene they get like tripped up in a trap.
Yeah, they get their balls electrocuted.
And it's well, no, that's they did that to themselves, which is hilarious. I feel like
Mhm.
those guys actually, I'm totally jumping ahead, but those guys are literally only there, like their roles are like relevant to the overall plot. in terms of like the events that happen because of them and that they're involved in. But like the slapstick humor is totally just they're there because
Yeah, they exist to deliver that.
Like
I mean,
that's
that's
totally
kind of why
benefit to the
they're
film.
in the original.
I
But yeah,
but they are funny.
yeah, I think it's a
Yes.
benefit to the film because them and their actions feel slapsticky. So
It's
just so
still yeah.
just so
And I
chat
get what
knows-
you mean, right? I understand what you're saying, as in like the animal's actions are a juxtaposition. However, it went on way too long, way too long. They could have cut probably 20 to 30 minutes from this film, both of the animals doing stuff and of the humans. Like there's a scene early on where the guy is being dragged around the park on his bike by
I disagree
by
with
his
that.
Dalmatian.
I disagree with that.
Oh
That was
yeah,
You
fun.
disagree with that? That is
I like
such a
that.
long
I like
scene.
that scene.
They
You
could have
know
cut
what?
that scene in half, and it would have been perfectly fine.
You
Now
know
that
what?
scene was
that
that
scene would
scene.
have taken some of the humor and the aesthetic away from this film. I agree.
Yeah,
the scene
like-
was
But hang
I'm not-
unnecessarily long.
You know
I'm
what,
not saying-
story.
Okay. You know what though? Because they have another scene like 3 minutes later where
Yes,
Anita
yes.
where Anita is also
I know,
getting
exactly.
dragged on her
Exact
bike.
same thing happened.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. I agree with that. And again, it's totally 100% my own personal preference. Like everything with
I
animals.
totally-
I just love seeing animals, bro. I just
No.
Mhm.
I'll push back on that.
I'm like it doesn't bother me, but I understand where you're coming from.
I
Like
think
yeah, it did feel a bit over the top and drawn out.
Like-
And then you
Yeah.
see him like creaking along on the bike with the wheels like turned sideways, and he's like all wet, and he grabs the wrong dog, and they get in an argument. Like
Mhm.
yeah,
I thought that scene was
I
cute.
totally
I like
agree.
that scene. And
that scene was
Des-
good, but like yeah, like the whole thing before that was like all right, we get it. Like I know what's
Yeah.
Nah.
And
I
before you
think
go on,
it
Des,
adds much needed slapstick to like
I-
the opening.
so I don't disagree. I don't disagree that the scene
Yeah.
should be there in the first place. I think that the scene being there is good. However, it goes on way too long. It's just too long. There's too much of it. And if they had cut that to half, then it would have been great. It would have been a perfect scene if they would have cut it down to half. And there's a lot of that in this film. I think there's like later on in the film.
Well, that was I also that's kind of I have a stronger like I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't bother me in the 101s. But in 102, I do feel that way about several scenes where I'm just like, all right, this is just getting ridiculous for no reason. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me in this one because I don't know, for whatever reason it just didn't feel too crazy. But in the second one, I understand that, and like it's more valid, I would say in my. But yeah, I
Alex Gomez, 1 second.
I can tolerate it.
Yeah, I did not expect it to be the topic this week either, Alex. Don't worry, next week we're returning to slop. Then
This is slop.
yeah,
This
slop.
is gold. This is absolute. This is
kid slop.
This
And
is
then, the first live action Cruella is not a prequel to this. The live action
Not?
Cruella film, it is not. The live action
It's
Cruella
trash.
film is technically its own film that's set in the future. There's a couple. It's supposed to be set in the year 2030 and also the year 1930 at the same time. That's one of the things that film has going for and against it, I guess. It's got a very weird aesthetic palette, and that's something they specifically tried to do. This is something that happens, I think, with the live action movies comparatively. These ones that we were talking about here, these ones feel more earnest and more like they're trying to figure stuff out. Whereas the modern ones, they add all of the like effort in the stupidest areas, like trying to make like Corella's a great example. Instead of making a plot that's coherent, or instead of making like a likable group of characters, or making a faithful adaptation, they've put all their effort into trying to make the aesthetic look unique and chic because they wanted little girls to be able to like cosplay as Cruella and stuff without realizing she kills puppies for fun. And so they had to then backdoor into this situation. What it should have been is it should have been a descent into madness type character where we were watching her get more and more cruel and evil and fed up with the world. The fact that movie, and a spoiler alert, has a Dalmatian drop kick her mother off the side of a castle into an abyss is hysterical and stupid.
It's awesome.
That is real,
I'm
by
never
the way. If
watching
you've never
that
seen that movie,
I'm
that
never
is how
watching that.
Cruella's. That's why
real.
Cruella hates Dalmatians, because her mother was drop kicked by a Dalmatian. So yeah,
It makes no sense because literally it's like even canon in these live action movies, like she's not aware of Dalmatians until she just sees a photo of one, and it's like, oh, I can use this for my fashion collection. Like she has no vicious hatred of them. There's no weird, deep seated like psychopathic like
I
complete.
Well,
I want to talk about it. I actually want to take something for Alex as well, because he brings it up that cruel devils,
She's not-
who wants to skin puppies can't be sympathetic. I completely disagree. If you have a character who starts out like, had she started out kind of normal, and then slowly over time failures kept mounting, and different issues with the fashion industry coming up, and like family members would put into trauma, and all of her situations kept getting worse and worse for her. You could see her transformed into somebody who goes from I do it for the love of the game into somebody who is so twisted by the the industry, if you will, that she would go out of her way to say we need to start killing puppies. You could get somebody to that point very easily. I think
Well, yeah, but that's different from having a weirdly deep-seated hatred of a specific dog breed from like the time you're a child.
I agree completely. That is dumb, and I wouldn't have done that. I just
Right.
would not have done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I got you.
I wouldn't have had the Dalmatians even be a thing in the first film. You're calling the movie Cruella. I get you want Dalmatians, but I wouldn't have had that be a thing. I would have had, because the whole point in either the animated one or the live action one is Cruella becomes obsessed with spots because she sees the Dalmatian design that the female, her name starts with A, Agnes, Annie,
Anita.
Anita. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's Roger's the other guy, but it's Roger and Anita. Anita, the one that Anita makes and that's what trips this whole. I need this design because it's something she's not seen before, and I think that's a good setup for her getting into this, because if you have her go down other routes and be obsessed with traditional fashion and traditional furs, it makes sense how you'd have tigers, you'd have some more like stripy things, you'd have different animal coats that are like solid color, like a minx and stuff. I could see those as a fashion designer coming from that. Also, I would have gotten more people who had fashion designers and like looked at some of those people and what they did into it. Remember, Coco Chanel decided worked for the bad guys in WW2. You remember that? Like when you're talking about like, ooh, I don't want fashion designers to be in a bad light. I promise you, like who's the guy who designed the SS uniforms?
Hugo Boss.
Wait,
Hugo Boss did too.
Yeah.
Chanel was evil too, but like almost every fashion designer like helped out with the no side because they had really good fashion. I'm sorry, there's a reason that we keep using them as bad guys.
It just is what it is.
Guys,
There's a reason that even though the Soviets are more evil, we don't use the Soviets as villains. They just don't look as cool.
Yeah.
Like
It just is what it is.
you got to have your villains dripped out to the max for you to want to hate them. It's one of the requirements.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Well,
A good enemy has to look cool.
They have to
It
look cool.
just is what it is.
Because if they look cool, you want to fight them. If they look like a bunch of hobos, you're like, I kind of feel bad for killing these guys who got no fashion sense. But when they're all like in matching uniforms and they're all, you're going to be like, dude, these guys are totally on fleek. You're like, oh crap. Do you know that they're on it? They're so on it that their outfits are on it. They have to be evil. Nobody who's a good person has outfits that coordinated except the Americans.
Yeah, they've got the bandwidth to spare to do that.
Exactly.
There's something about being so like aggressively aesthetic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This movie does have that. This movie has like aesthetic in spades. That's one of the reasons that I put it as high as a 4 is because it has a great aesthetic throughout the whole thing. The set design is great. The character design very, very good. It's one of my favorite things about this film.
It looked especially for '96 for the first time to try in live action. They clearly put enough effort into this to make it like a valid attempt.
Mm-hmm.
I see how
it feels almost Tim Burton-esque.
Yeah,
the aesthetic in the second one gets a little ridiculous.
It does.
Yeah,
it cranks it up in a weird way.
Des knows.
I haven't seen the second one in at least 15 years. So.
What's that, guys?
I don't remember anything about the aesthetic.
It gets pretty it's I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for now.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
If we're gonna get to it, it gets a little like almost like a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Why does
What? What? Hmm?
Kid you there?
I think he's chasing his dog out of the room.
All right.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My dogs decided to enter the room immediately and let me know they were here. I had to chase them out. My dad is trying to help me get them out. But yes, so back to this.
All 101 of them.
All 101 of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, Chad, if you want to see pictures of my dogs, join the Discord. I post them there frequently. And
So true.
I'm probably going to get a Twitter and eventually post them there too. If you want to
So
give me
true.
money for posting my dogs, I forgot to link my Ko-Fi, but I'll go link it in the description right now.
We'll
You have a
post the-
Ko-Fi. Wow.
I do have a Ko-Fi.
Wait, is it not pronounced coffee? Because
it's-
it's like buy me a coffee.
It's both.
Oh,
It's pronounced both. It's Ko-Fi because it's co-finance, and it's coffee because it's buy me a coffee.
All right.
It's pronounced both ways. I know.
Okay, I can accept that.
Mhm.
Ko-Fi does have a cadence to it.
no. Terrible.
Just like this
I'm a
this film. I almost cursed.
No.
I heard it clearly.
You two standing there with the
Watch
sword
your
of Damocles. Oh.
Mm-hmm. That was a close one. So do you guys? I think what would have made this film significantly better is if the
Okay.
dogs spoke.
Yeah.
Mm,
I think
Yeah.
if they went
No.
I thought about
think
that
if
a
they-
lot.
unnecessary.
I think in the first one it'd be better. I don't agree with the second one, but in the first one, yes. If
I
they
think
went
the
down
second
an
one, it
Airbud,
would be overwhelming if they
Yes.
talked. It would be irritating.
yes. Yeah.
No.
In the second one, it'd be irritating. I'd want to kill myself. In the first one, I think it'd be a good addition, just because of how long we spend with the puppies, with no other people talking.
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
think so. I think that I still
No.
agree having them talk would have been bad. I think that there's other ways you could have done it. Alex, the paw pics are in my Discord. Join the Discord, go to Animal Menagerie, and scroll back. You'll have to scroll through 150 bunny pictures from Legacy, but there are puppy pics and dog pics all over the place there.
I
So-
don't think they talked. I understood what was going on without having anyone talk myself.
Well, you
It-
No, I
understood.
understood what was going on. Yeah.
I don't disagree that you knew what they're doing. I just
Mhm.
think it would have
Yeah,
added
like
some much needed.
I didn't mind that, because otherwise it would still be, like the pigs and the rabbits and the sheep would have to talk to, and the cow and the horse and all these other things. I don't
agree.
know, as far as like like maybe in terms of just making a movie, who knows? Could you pay enough people to have all that go on?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
feel like
I mean-
I feel like it worked fine the way that it was. I had no issue with the understanding what was going on. It didn't bother me that there were no words being spoken.
It felt like that they had enough time with all of this to have words being spoken the entire time, and I think that's the issue.
That. It wasn't an issue for me, but I get it.
Yeah. I could see that.
You know
Kid,
what?
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? The original has them talk, right? I'm not crazy when I say that.
I can't remember.
Oh,
It's
you
been
mean
so long since
like
I've seen it.
the animated one?
Yeah, the animated one they do talk. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if they just did it like the voices of the animals' heads talking to one another, like they do in Homeward Bound, then that'd be fine. Homeward Bound, good movie.
That is funny. Yeah, they literally show a scene where Shadow from Homeward Bound talks.
That's so
in the
funny.
movie.
That's so.
But
funny.
yeah, Homeward Bound is that's an all-time great movie. Also,
I'm interrupting for one
The
second. You go,
Incredible-
Alex. There's my dog. There's Coach. He's my best little boy. You've
The-
seen him enough.
There you go.
The Incredible Journey, which Homeward Bound is based on, is also great. But it's funny because it's just got a narrator. But it's like, yeah, they're both great. Shout out to Sassy
Mhm.
and Chance. Chance was great. Bat Dog when I was growing up. I don't know. Everything with animals was awesome for me. So I can't give this a bad rating, So what part are we on?
Some vagaries at first. We figure we can actually start diving deep into plot stuff in a second. The
Okay.
actual film is still at the. I don't. Is she going slow? I think the film's playing.
No. It might be
Let me
playing a
see.
tiny bit slow, maybe like
Definitely in slow
0.75.
motion.
Let me see.
Yeah.
At bare minimum, like 0.75. That is not. Like,
Yeah, it's playing
Yeah.
60% speed.
It might
Yeah,
even
no,
be.
that's
Yeah, they haven't
slow.
crashed
That
the
is
bikes yet.
slow.
There we go.
It's this extremely gratuitous bike scene.
it is long. I will say that every moment is used efficiently, though.
I don't
I
know.
don't
about
know.
that.
I like trying to take into account what kind of audience they're going for. If it was like, kids tier humor, it's like you got to be a little bit
It's
slapstick.
all silly, absurd stuff that happens on there. There's not like a point where
Yeah,
it's like,
'cause
he's
because
riding on the bike normally. It's not like, no, he's in the middle of traffic. He's causing like 50 crashes. 3 people are dead. Like, it's.
I mean,
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of stuff does happen.
And every time that Cruella drives the car, she like whips it at 100 miles an hour.
I know,
Like,
exactly. It's
Mhm.
awesome. I love how she does that too.
I
that
love
was
her car.
yeah.
I love her car. That's fantastic. Oh,
So evil. All right, here we go. I think I had to film back to where we were, like 40 odd minutes in. So
Anyway, so yeah, you want to start the deep dive?
starts out with we follow Roger, who I don't think his actor's done anything else that I know, unfortunately. Some bit
Pretty
roles.
low-key actor.
Yeah. He
Never been in.
his name's Roger.
I was saying he's never been in anything.
Yeah, not really.
This is the only movie he's ever been in.
Mhm.
He looks like
Some bit
off-brand
parts.
Robin Wilson. Not Wilson. Robin.
Williams?
Probably
Crap.
William.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, Disney already. Yeah, they probably tried to get Robin Williams, but after what they did to him in Aladdin, he basically declared a jihad against Disney. So
I think this was during the jihad. They only made up for Aladdin 3.
they did. No, you joke. He literally
I'm not joking.
We'll get- we'll cover Aladdin
I know
one
the
day.
story. That's why I'm saying.
I know
That's-
it's a great story.
I'm not bringing up Aladdin 3 for like no
For no
one
reason.
knows Aladdin 3
Alright,
other than the fact that it
dude,
was
dude,
like
alright.
Williams actually reconciled.
All right, dude. You know who he looks like? He looks like a weird like doppelganger of what's the TV show where it's like the dad who like sits down and puts his hands in his pants and puts on the TV from like is that from the 80s or 90s?
All I know is he was
No,
in West Wing.
He was in West Wing.
Yeah.
I don't know what show you're talking about, Pops.
He did the one speech
It's,
about how America sucks. The one clip I've
Somebody
seen.
tell
from
about
West
America
Wing.
sucks. Imagine if they were in my Discord doing that every day. It'd be weird.
So true.
They would never
Luffy.
do that.
Never do that. Never be
that's
wrong
true.
about being Canadian. So, if he's watching, if he ain't watching this show, so we can talk.
No, he ain't.
Anyway,
No, he ain't.
but yeah. So jokes aside, so the film starts out with Roger, and instead of being like an author, I really like this update to the thing. He's a failed video game designer. It's a much more interesting idea, especially because video games these days are these mega projects, but doing this in '96 is actually kind of brave because 96 was just after the big video game crashes, and people weren't really sure if video games are ever going to be a thing, and it's kind of forward looking to have them pick that as the job for the guy, which makes it have a little bit more of a lasting quality, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It also was kind of thematically relevant within like characterization versus like him versus Cruella, that it would be him like going for something that's like a little more like almost liberal in terms of like he's looking toward the future versus her who's like primitive, wants to skin animals and do all this stuff.
Yes.
And she's already made it and is
I don't know. I don't
already.
know because like is the skinning
That
animals,
might be a bit of a
because the skinning animals, that's mainly like that's on the DL. Like that's not the business. The big business as a whole
I
doesn't
don't
seem
know.
to do that. It seems to be just Cruella in her like free time.
Well,
Like,
she is trying to get these Dalmatians so that she can go to an expo and show off her fur, though. So, like,
Right, but she doesn't. The thing is, whenever she does like the kidnapping and stuff, it's clearly
Mhm.
illegal. She's not
That's
doing
true.
like all
well,
this above ground. Like she is like
yeah, but like you
I don't
wear
think the
furs
employees
like
know
in
Mhm.
public.
that they're wearing like real fur. I think they think it's like fake fur or something. Because like she's not
No,
supposed to
I don't know.
be
She doesn't.
killing the.
no,
She's not
dude,
supposed to
come
be
on,
killing the tiger from the
come on.
zoo. Like I like.
What do you?
Yeah, but she
No,
doesn't seem to
what are you
hide at all
talking?
with Anita. She's like, I love fur. All women love fur.
You know that's a fair point. So I don't know what's
Dude,
going on with this really.
no, the whole thing. So the tiger, there's a disconnect between the tiger being kidnapped from the zoo and her wearing tiger skin. All right. So the whole thing is like a tiger
I
disappeared. We know
mean,
what's going on, and then
if like
shows up.
if
But the whole thing is like it is genuine fur, but again, nobody can prove where it came from. So
Mhm.
that's what's going on. So
uh,
she's obviously like it's given context for the audience that obviously she's doing some scam and theft and things like that to obtain these things, but they are genuine. It is
I
fur.
mean, if the police knew that she was wearing a suspiciously, a tiger that
Dude, what do you
suspiciously
want
looked
me to
like the
say?
one
What do
missing,
you want?
like
Like,
I don't know, like I think
Corella
they
visits
would
the tiger
probably.
exhibit. Tiger's gone. Corella with a suspiciously tiger-shaped stomach. Who
Yeah, I
could have
know
done it?
exactly,
yeah, what are
exactly.
you
That's
like,
exactly what I'm
dude?
saying.
Like,
Can you? Does
And
the tanning
it's not even,
process?
well, and not only that, it's like a day later. It's not even like she waits like
That
3
is true.
months.
That is
It's like
true.
the next day. She's like, I
dude,
love this
I
tiger
don't,
fur. It's
I
like
don't work for,
that's
I don't.
interesting. That's very interesting, Cruella. Where did you get this very fine exotic tiger fur? That's very curious. Yeah, this looks like an endangered Siberian tiger fur. Where'd you get that one? I'm just curious. Like, I'm just
Endangered
wondering.
Siberia, Des. God,
Yeah,
you're
I
so
know. It's
uncultured.
like there's 3 of them left, and one just died actually, right next to you. Where'd you get that thing?
You have binoculars in
Yeah,
here aimed
yeah,
at the exhibit,
yeah.
and there's a
It's
sticky
like
spot on
not
the floor. What's going on, Coella?
yeah, like
By the way, I want to thank
it's not
Alex
like she was
Gomez for being a
that
trooper.
subtle. Like
He's
that's
answered all
what
the
I
questions.
mean. Like, I forgot that she was so unsubtle about it literally being fur because you have to deal with that alongside her literally killing like an endangered tiger and like wearing it like the next
Yes,
day.
it does come back in the end, though. Don't worry.
I know it comes back in the end. I'm just saying.
Average British police investigation.
It's true. But no, so that obviously, as we talked about, Anita, the girl, works for Corella, and she and Roger both kind of have similar lives where they're a little bit miserable, they're a little bit unhappy in their situations, but they're working away, grinding away. One is more successful than the other. In fact, they're so poor and desperate they can only afford bicycles. This is another reason that America is the greatest nation on earth. We don't have to deal with bicycles. Everybody has cars here. And the Brits, if you're poor,
No,
you
no,
get a
no, no,
bicycle.
no, no.
Well,
So
more
true.
important,
So true.
So true. So
more
continuing the trend that
importantly,
America's
both of them.
superior, the British people have their funny little cars driving around, and they're going so slow that the dogs are able to decide to drag the humans around, and nobody gets hit at all. There's a couple small car accidents, but they had to dub in glass breaking sounds because they couldn't even break the safety glass when the cars hit each other. That definitely didn't bother me at all. But we get
It's
to an
literally
interesting
proof that they're
scene
all
where
crashing.
Pongo, the male dog, gets his Pongo Pong, and he wants to go find the female dog. So he runs through half of the entire municipal district of London, as Peg eloquently pointed out, until he finds the only park in the whole city. It's the only park that we ever see, so that's got to be the only park they have. Then
Right.
he rams his owner into a park bench with some very funny old ladies,
That's right.
and he gets sent flying into the pond. He then goes off to be a literal horn dog, watching the girl that he's into just basically work out in front of him. It's kind of interesting if you think about it
Hang
from a dog's perspective.
before
And he
that.
hangs out with Anita, her owner, and she throws a ball for her dog to run off. Then Pongo's owner, Roger, comes over the hill, all wet and angry, and sees, the Dalmatian run up to him. He's like, all right, Pongo, you little jerk. Come here, boy. And he puts his leash on Pongo to drag him away. But ruh-roh, it's actually the lady dog. The lady owns him. So the lady comes over and brutally mugs him.
Well, you forgot to mention that he gets hit with a bag of bricks.
Why did you get
that's
that?
very
I
important.
was literally in
Right.
the middle of mentioning that. She does brutally mug him.
I mentioned that she gets hit by a bag of bricks. There we go. We're done.
Yes.
We got it.
And that is one of my. I think that might be my favorite joke in the movie. I
That
was
was
not
a great
laughing at this
joke.
Bart Pack. You have to be.
All right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. This was a funny joke. I liked this
You
one. I
know,
think this might be the only joke.
I think it's a great joke in this one.
That's the only joke?
Not the only joke in the film. Of course, there's more jokes.
okay.
The only joke that I laughed at. There are other jokes in the film.
So he
Okay.
smacks her with her. She smacks him with her bag. It knocks him on flat on his ass. And you know the typical joke. What do you keep with her, lady? Bricks? And she goes, "Yes, I collect them when I see them on the ground so I can build a garden. I got 3 today." And he's like, "Yeah, that feels about 3 bricks wide." It's a great joke.
Literally, it's such a good joke, and it also explains what happens 2 scenes from now that we're going to discuss. Where it's like, oh, this is the kind of woman you
Yeah. By the way, this Anita, she looks completely normal, and in the original 101 Dalmatian, she's kind of normal. The Anita in this film is secretly a complete psychopath. She is the perfect woman.
No, she's not a psycho. She's autistic, and she's perfect.
She is perfect. Yeah, this I think the Anita in this film so far wins my favorite Disney woman of the year, even though this came out in '96. Of all the Disney films and Disney-related things I've seen, she's so far my favorite one this year. So thank you, Miss Anita. But yeah,
I wish we got more of the people.
I agree, and I'll tell you this much.
I don't know if I agree.
The smacking with the brick scene.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Well, yeah, I'll explain. The smacking with the brick scene and some of the comedy that happens there shows that was like they have some really good actors, some really funny stuff going on here, and I wish they'd built upon it a little bit more. I understand we're here to see the puppies, but I wish we got a little bit more of the 2 characters interacting because they were pretty funny the little bit we got to see them. Side note, we forgot to mention when he goes to get his video game, he tries to sell it to this company, and this is my second favorite joke in the film. He's like, "All right, we need to meet with our head product manager." Okay, and the guy's like, "Yeah, this guy's been doing video games his entire life."
Oh yeah,
since he's been 6 years old, he's beat every video game in a matter of minutes. And it's like, oh, okay. And they look over, and the kid looks like he's 7. It's a really funny thing. And then he gives a scathing review. It's like, well, sir, your graphics are nice, but the gameplay is lacking. Your phone's not quite detestable enough. It's like
no, kid. It's even better. It's not that he's beat everyone. It's that he's predicted the best-selling game like 6 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then not only that, he's like, it's like everything's all right, but the villain sucks. Like he's just a goofy goober, like who just jumps around and stuff. Like he's not Yeah, the dog catcher is not threatening at all. Like this guy sucks. I need to feel I don't need to fear
the urge to annihilate.
I want to it's like, yeah, I want to annihilate. I need to want to annihilate them or something like that.
That's his closing line.
Just the urge to annihilate. That kid, by the way, the actor grew up to be let's just say he'd be pretty good on modern day YouTube. YouTube would like him a lot these days.
He's got spiked up hair.
He does, and he's got earrings. Super cool. The coolest.
Quite the character. Yeah, he's funny. That was his closing line. He's like, I don't need to hate my villain. Dun, dun, dun. Drop the mic. I just need to annihilate them. It was hilarious. Yeah, but yeah.
Lines, I was like, damn. Like, cause this thing, the film starts out, you're like, all right, I'm ready. We're starting to go crazy, and then it kind of just goes normal from this point, unfortunately. It kind of mellows out a little bit at this. It starts out like you're really excited for the first 2 minutes, and then, yeah, when Corella's on screen, she acts a little bit, but it kind of mellows out until we get to the 3rd act.
Yeah, I'd say it mellows out unless we see Mr. House and whatever the other guy is. Like those two
parts, his facial reactions. Mr. Weasley,
like Mr. House is always good, but like other than that, yeah, like we mellow out very like everywhere anytime Mr. House is not on screen. Like Mr. House and Cruella, I guess, because Cruella also is doing,
Yeah.
she's acting
so
like
this character-
Cruella.
So
Like,
we get introduced to our two like baddie thief characters, totally not stolen from Home Alone, played by House and Mr. Weasley, and they go meet
they're
a
not
guy.
stolen. They're not stolen from Home Alone. They're in the original.
No, Home Alone came out in like '92.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Home Alone came out.
Yeah,
They're in the original.
No. Yes, they are the
Huh?
original, but they just like do a couple things and then leave. They're not really there for a lot. Their entire aesthetic and the fact that they're two robbers in a van together and act goobers together, that's totally because they watched Home Alone and thought, all right, boys, let's steal this idea.
Yeah, they act like goobers in the original, from what I remember.
Not like this, though.
Not to the same degree. I'll agree with that. They definitely up the ante.
They're just slight villains in the other one. They're not really like, these guys are morons.
No, these guys,
I
it's
feel
like
they are
Find
kind
a
of
way to
stupid.
keep the bag with a key.
I might have brought it up before. It was like the fact that they are like the go-to slapstick comedy relief guys is, and it's fine because every scene that they are in basically is relevant to the plot. Like it's not out of the way. Like you're not taking a detour just to laugh at them for some stupid stuff. Like it is like it does.
Well, I mean, we do take a few detours just to laugh at them.
But it
We
doesn't.
do.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite feel like that. You know what
Well,
I
it
mean?
doesn't feel like it because it's funny. I like that we take
Yeah,
detours.
so
I
it
like
works.
the detour
It
where they
works.
get shocked in the balls. Like that was funny.
Well, the detours
But we
come
are
after
taking
the
detours.
So it's not a problem. So it's
That's
not
fair.
a problem.
That's fair.
You know, it
I'm not
functions.
saying it's a problem. I'm just saying we're
Detours
taking
start coming
detours.
later on as the chase scenes start happening. But that's different. That's when we get to the third act. Up until then, every time we cut to them, they either do something stupid and goofy, but it's always advancing the plot or letting so a stake in the plot. They're getting yelled
I
at by
agree.
Cruella because she needs to order them to do something. They go meet the Skinner, which is
Yeah.
a hysterical character, a guy who got his throat ripped out by like a cat, so now he skins animals for revenge.
No. It's a dog. It is a dog. They make sure it's a dog so that
Doberman.
he hates dogs. Yep. Yeah.
It's a
So,
Doberman.
That's
Yeah,
hysterical
dude.
of a character.
No,
This-
it's awesome.
by the
It's
way-
so great. Yeah, he can't talk, so he's just no, dude. And then he does what's it called, Morse code? Like it's so
Yeah, on the phone. Yeah.
it's awesome.
quick.
And she just understands it. I love that Cruella
she
just
knows Morse
understands.
code. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
Excellent. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she knows it well enough that she can just translate it in her head to like more to the point.
Over the phone.
Yeah.
He's a kind of almost underrated character because the way that the whole thing with him is that he's known to be this like he's literally like the apex kind of like threat to them. Like if you see him, he's almost like the Undertaker when they go and hit stop.
He's not
But-
the
but,
apex
like-
threat because like freaking who's the silly one? Who's the one gets left behind? What's his name? Lucky takes him out. Lucky solos him. He's
Yeah, one
absolutely
puppy
not
versus
the
him.
ultimate threat. Lucky literally solos him.
No, the Airedale Terrier takes him out by biting him on the butt when he wasn't looking. That's not.
Oh
the same.
yeah. You're right.
That
He just
Airedale
distracted
was like that Airedale Terrier was like the Moses of the whole story, and I
Look,
tried
I'm
to.
just saying.
So true.
Look, all I'm saying is, Cruella DeVille would have taken that dog out. Okay.
Stop.
Lucky would have made it if it was Cruella DeVille.
Later though, all right. So they meet a guy whose name was Skinner, and this guy I think he's underutilized in the film because he's got like 3 scenes.
Yeah,
we
he's
get to the end.
underutilized.
Mhm.
I agree.
And I wish he was here more because when he shows up, the house, it's a very funny scene. House looks at Mr. Weasley and says, "All right, Mr. Weasley, it's my first time taking to this guy. This guy's
Oh,
freaking
dude,
ugly.
awesome.
Don't say nothing to him." He gets very sensitive about it. The minute he opens the door, he's like, "Oh my god, you're so ugly! I'm gonna die."
Yeah,
Look
he's
at
like,
that. I like that.
mentioned the
That was a good
scar.
one.
He can't speak, and then he's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, the scar, disgusting."
God,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be living if I had that. It's a very like,
Mhm.
Right.
not like that's coherent. Some stuff I'm looking like I want more interactions with this. I want more like times. But again, this unfortunately Skinner he doesn't show up again until he reports to Cruella DeVille, as we already talked about, on the phone with Morse code, which is hysterical again.
Mhm.
This film has some
Yeah,
very
there
funny
needs to be
small
more-
stuff going on.
There needs more human stuff, and we've got a lot of stuff that could be trimmed, at least a little bit, to
I
get
agree
more
with the
human
trimming.
stuff.
I just don't agree with the specific trimming you mentioned the first time.
Yeah, I mean
Guys, are we
that's
still
fair.
live?
I
Are
believe
we
so.
not?
My
I just
YouTube
got
is
a
still going.
notification from YouTube.
No, maybe we got taken off the air for being too offensive.
I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't say that.
I see live, but I don't know. It might be a few second delay. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's got a
Let's see
pop
I mean,
up
it's
that just said, "Hey, YouTube's having a bitrate issue." I don't know why it would be. Okay, things are okay now.
all right.
Well,
Anyway, yeah, more human stuff would have been good, or
So
the animals talking.
the animals talking would have been necessary. We got enough. We had. The problem is like this. We'll get to it with this huge chunk in the middle, but we'll get to it when we get to that. Let's keep going as we call it chronologically. So the Anita and Roger fall in love literally. It's a very cute scene where he actually asks her to marry him, and she says, "Yes, I'd love to do you."
we talked about me and Pops talked
This
about
is
it's
great.
peak.
This is
It's
great.
literally peak.
It almost felt like because the dogs were almost like obviously already in love, we had to
Mhm.
rush. We had to rush to match up the parallels of the humans. So like it's literally like the humans meet and they're like, oh, we have the same kind of dog, and then they kind of like each other, and then they mix up a few words and like have like a cute romantic moment. And the next scene, they get married. It's great.
It's that
They
it's
skip
that
the
they it's that they
entire
both
like dating
it's-
And
drama.
their coach
Like,
got lit on fire. That was very funny.
oh
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
yeah.
That was cool. That was cool. I almost felt like there was something to be said there. If
It was
I'm
the
like,
fact that they both fell into the river. It's the fact that they both, she hit him with Brex, of course,
Mhm.
and then did autistic girl things, and then like, and it's like, oh, the dogs are sad, and it's like, oh, what are we gonna do? We can't separate them, and then it's just like, like they're like, we can't separate them. It's like ideas. It's like, do you want some married? And then it's like married. It's like okay. It's like
he's like, would you like some marriage? Yeah.
yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah,
And it's
would
so
you like
funny
some
too, because
marriage?
the scene like 3 scenes before is Corella being like, oh, perfect. You're not in any relationship. You're not gonna be stolen away, right? And she's like, nah, I'm single. I'm not seeing anyone. So unless I get married, I mean, I can do this for you. Yeah, this should be fine. And then like
I
3 scenes later, she's like, I'm getting married.
I love that.
Like
You know what? If
on
it
the
was,
first day of meeting this dude. It's been like an hour maybe.
if
I
it
love
was,
that in that scene, Cruella spouts like crazed like feminine like hyper feminist
Dude,
Absolutely.
I know, it's awesome.
like they
It-
positioned the villain, the like pure evil villain of the piece as spouting this, and it's just a complete reversal. Like that would never happen ever these days. It's just
Like,
it's just very entertaining.
Having
I
kids,
agree.
detestable. I can't skin them, but puppies. Oh.
yeah, I know, dude, exactly.
She would skin a baby though.
If it would look good, yes.
Yeah.
She reads the article in the newspaper. She goes, my employee's getting married. She goes, I can't believe she did this to me.
Yes,
Dude,
you
not
betrayed
only
me.
that, she
Yeah.
then storms over to her house. And then she's and then not only that, she's like within like a week, it's like, by the way, the dog's pregnant and I'm pregnant. And that's the funniest scene too, where it's
Oh,
like
that's a very funny
she's
scene.
describing all this stuff. She's like, the nurse is like, oh yeah, the dog's pregnant. And then here's why.
Yeah,
here's
and he's like,
like,
how can you
this
tell the
look,
dog's
this look,
pregnant?
this look,
That-
this look.
Oh, the dog's got
Well,
wistful looks in her eyes, and she
Yes.
sometimes coughs a little bit, and so good.
She gives
Yeah.
us. That was a cute little parallel. I
Mhm.
appreciate that
It's very
scene.
cute.
But
I
yeah,
thought it was great.
the funny,
It
it's
was a funny,
hilarious.
cute scene.
It's hilarious that like the nanny of the house, like the Consuela, also is like the midwife of dogs. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Very
that,
strange thing.
she was cool. She
Mhm.
probably worked on a farm or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Who knows?
they eventually do have the puppies, and because puppies come faster than children, Anita is still pregnant, and the puppies are born. The puppies also get their hair and grow up rather quickly. They're probably about 4 months old. Pops was thinking before estimates, right, Pops?
Oh, in the scenes where they're running around, they're probably between 3 and 4 months. But yeah, the scene. There's also a scene in between where Cruella comes over like right when they're born, and she's like, "Why don't they even have spots? What's wrong with them?"
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, she freaks
Devils.
out. Mhm.
So she's very much like an overbearing boss. Very much like you know.
I
What's
mean,
your
absolutely. Like she just barges into their house multiple times.
Yeah, she just comes in uninvited.
Yeah, like
She's like ultimately presumptuous. It's very funny.
This is why we had to put in the Constitution specifically, we will not quarter enemy soldiers. Because the British were just fine with it.
Fair enough, yeah.
So yes. So she shows up, she offers them, and this was an interesting discussion, because this film is so old, we had a huge debate chat earlier of, is this a worthwhile amount? She offers them, what was it again, like 3,000 pounds?
500 euros.
Yeah.
500 euros per 7,500 total.
Pounds.
7,500 pounds.
Yeah, whatever.
Euro is worth way less, that's why.
Yeah, whatever.
And after you adjust for inflation and then adjust for the, at the time, difference in currency, it basically amounts to, what was it, $5,000 a dog?
It was
It was $4,000 a dog, and we thought 3,000 was the average, I think.
No, I think it was.
No, it was like 1,400.
In terms of pounds, so it was like 1,200 pounds per dog versus the exchange rate would be about $3,000. I think you said the exchange rate was
like 2.5 at the time.
Yeah, two and a half times 12 is 3, so it would be about $3,000 per dog in American dollars at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we looked at it, and it was like puppies at the time that were purebred were worth anywhere between $400 to $2,500. So it actually ends up being, she's offering about $500 more than what would be a high rate for that breed. So not exactly like hard, but not exactly like, oh, you know, this is going to change my life. I think the total would be like $45,000 today. So it's enough money that it's like, it's not changing your life level of money. Like you get a car, but you're not paying off your house.
Mm. It's a decent chunk of change.
Yeah, it would be worth it. So they reject her, of course. They raise the puppies, and
if I was a failing video game designer, that would be a lot of money.
It would be, and it's definitely worthwhile for them to reject it. It's a big moral like standing on them to reject it. Yeah, the film's also really weird at their finances. They have enough money that they can raise, like 17 dogs, and have a nanny, but like the husband doesn't work, and the wife gets fired.
Does the wife get fired? Oh, she does get fired. You're right.
Yeah, she gets fired for not selling the puppies.
The 90s were a different time.
Exactly, they really were. But yeah, so they fire. She gets fired. They basically just raise the puppies at that point, and then we have a couple scenes of puppies being puppies. They're very adorable. I love the little guys.
There is a lot of just puppies.
Well, they kind of just hang out in the basket until they get stolen.
Yeah, they're cute as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably like the part where the part where Nana comes home and they all run out into the living room. They're probably around like 8 to 10 weeks old in that scene. They're like super adorable. That's like the kind where like puppies you see like advertisements online. Like that's the most cutest that they'll ever look. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, like after that they get stolen, and after that it kind of looks like
before they get stolen. There's one scene I really like where they're all watching TV and Nana puts on the Aristocrats for them. And it's like, oh, this is so much fun. And they all look at each other, and there's a scene that's talking about how much they like being cats. And they go up and they change it to Homeward Bound. It's very funny.
That's after the scene with the collars. The collar scene is cute.
Oh, the collar scene.
It's a very cute scene.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't have a heart, but I'm like, oh man, all of this could have been much faster. They could have just sped all that up.
Sure.
I don't think the TV bit they could have sped up. I think that was well timed.
I suggest next time you watch this film, because you're gonna watch it, rather soon again. You watch it with your wife and let her all and ooh at all the puppy scenes.
Yeah.
Yes. I guarantee she'll like the puppy scenes.
She probably will. I liked them as a child.
Yeah,
you just have
cut a little bit to where they get captured at this point. I do suggest watching this film. If I was a betting man, I would bet that the website that I watch this from may be on Internet Archive, and there may be multiple variants of it depending on what you want to watch on there. Just if I was betting.
But you don't bet.
I don't bet.
You're not a gambling man.
No. Gambling
Not
is a sin, and I am Jesus. So, back to the show. The puppies end up getting kidnapped by the two robbers. And I think we can cut out some of the slapsticky stuff, but they basically just go to an abandoned-ish estate that Corella's family owns. During this time, several of the dogs are following them. You're like, what the heck is this? It looks suspicious. One thing I like is there's this really old British guy who's like, I guess an ex-palace guard because he's still wearing half the uniform. He's been seen in the background of several shots walking an English bulldog. And then, like, this English bulldog is very upset at the situation because he knows those guys stole the puppies. And me and Pops were talking earlier about how we like how it's kind of a callback to the original movie where they had, like, every dog's, like, owner looked exactly like the dog.
Yeah, so that's represented, and they do show like a little sequence early on of like when they're at the park, sitting at the park, Roger and Pongo. They'll show people walking by with their dogs, and he'll like bark, and they'll bark back, and we do see the bulldog there. But it's cool in that scene. So the two henchmen jump into the house while you know, the adults and the two dogs are at the park, and they snatch the puppies after they stuff the nanny into the closet, and they come out with a bag, and they're like, "Oh, hello, governor," to the cop, and the dog is barking at them, and the guy is like, come on, heel, like, chill, these are just regular workmen." And the dog knows what they're doing, and it's funny because Arthur Weasley, I forget, does he have a name in the movie, the Weasley guy?
Weasley and Dr. House.
Yeah.
We know.
So the Weasley guy, it's funny in that scene because he's like, I think that dog knows what we're doing. And the house guy is like, well, it's a good thing that dogs aren't as smart as you think, or something like that. And that's like, it's funny because it's the ongoing theme of like them being outsmarted by these animals. These guys are like, kind of just idiots, for lack of a better word. And so, yeah, that dog kind of sets up the Twilight bark, and that's how the word gets spread. The Twilight bark is a good theme in the original, if you guys remember that.
Yes, it was.
I think
it's extended here, though, and I think that's one of the reasons Pag find it drags a bit. It goes on much longer here. Not that it's a bad thing, of course. It's I don't think it's bad. Pag does, but I don't think it was necessarily bad. But it does. It
just takes so long. It just goes on and on and on. Like I get it. And it's neat for a little bit, for sure. I think it's a good scene for a little bit, but maybe cut 30% off. Just a third. Just thunk, right? Don't need all of that. Like why does there need to be so many different animals involved with this whole thing? Like it just feels a little bit gratuitous. And it kind of
bro. It's also
it just kind of drags.
In the house later. We can torment Cruella later with all the animals, but we'll get to her.
Yeah.
But I don't think you needed to set up there being other animals in the world. I don't think that's necessary.
English, you don't know what they're doing. But they also have they call the Skinner guy to show up, and this adds a slight plot hole that me and Pops talked about earlier.
Oh yeah.
Where Skinner's got a list of all the puppies in the world that they've kidnapped, as well as their addresses. And then later on, when the film we'll save that for the end. We don't want to spoil how it ends.
Yeah.
But just remember, he has that, and they all showed up at the house now.
And so what?
I actually dislike a little bit of the house scene, but go ahead, Pops.
Yeah. So basically, Cruella, she goes like, "Oh, Skinner, note that in your notebook. That's 15 more puppies from this address." And they see a shot where it says like, "Oh, Ackland Drive," or Sussex Drive, or Suffolk, or whatever. It says like 10, 12, 16, however many puppies came from each location. 8, 15, and he gets to the bottom. He's like, "That's it's 99." And it's like, well, hang on. This will be a thing that bothered me later on because I'm autistic about it, but whatever. But yeah, so for context, that's there, and I noticed it, and it bothered me later on. But yeah,
we'll
it's what
it's don't worry. Just remember that happened, chat. So then at this point, they're at the estate, and while they're at the estate, what type of dog is it, Pops, that like shows up to help them?
So there's the Airedale Terrier, and there's also a sheepdog at the farm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the like the black and tan one, that's the Airedale.
Yeah, he sneaks into the place and they start doing some stealth ops, and
That's the one who sees them when they're leaving in the truck. He sees a puppy poke its head out, and then he like runs after the truck. That's the
Yeah, he's
Airedale.
like, what's this?
Yeah, and then there's a great scene. It's crazy that they trained the dog to do this, where he like acts out what happened, where
it's a really awesome scene.
he picks up a blanket and like does like a stand up like dance and like
He
yeah.
crawls into the blanket and makes a puppy sound, and he stands up and looks walking. It's great.
So, like when I said earlier that this feels like a commercial for whoever the animal coordinator or whatever his job is. I feel like this is just a commercial for this guy because, like, I mean, there's so much stuff that he trained these animals to do. It's very impressive. It's honestly very impressive. At least to me. I don't know, Pops. You have a lot more experience with animals, so maybe you're like, this is kind of passe. But to me, that like amount of training in all these different animals
that's pretty legit. Like that's like like yeah.
The reason that, as me and Pops talked about, all the raccoons in this film are puppets. You don't notice it.
Yeah.
But the raccoons suck, and they don't listen to shit stuff. So there's a reason that raccoons are all puppets in this movie.
Yeah,
it's very obvious.
You can try to hand feed them and stuff, but by the time they're like 4 months old, they're too nasty to train most of the time, unless you like really know what you're doing. But it's funny, they show real raccoons in like the first couple of sequences where they're like picking up rocks and stuff. But anyone where they interact with humans, puppets.
Yeah. Yeah. The raccoons were also cute. Very cute animals. When they were real. Having the puppets was kind of jarring.
But again, they had to, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not hard to tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Oh, also, by the way, raccoons and skunks are not native to the British Isles.
No, they're not.
Oh, that's interesting.
It was when I saw that, I was like, I remember it kind of like for a second, I was like, wait, hang on, what's going on?
Yeah, that's funny too. I know raccoons are like a North American thing.
Have they been introduced into their area?
Not really. No, I think they got introduced to Japan because of that goofy TV show, and then I think somewhere that was like maybe it was like Denmark. They're not really like no. There's no reason for them to be in the every year this takes place in Britain.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, it's whatever. No,
it doesn't really matter. It's just a fun fact.
It's fine. The skin.
Then so at this point, everybody's headed to the
so she calls Skinner. She calls Skinner, and she's like, "I want the fur now. Give me the fur." And Skinner's like, "I." And then he gathers up his torture implements and he sets off. And something funny is that Cruella shows up well before Skinner. Like, what was this guy doing? Why? How does Cruella show up like hours before Skinner does? Like, he shows up and everything's already been done, and there's only one puppy, and he's like, I'll skin it anyway. Just for kicks, you know. How does Cruella show up significantly before him?
Drives like a psycho, which is canonical.
That is true. However, like, did she hang up the phone and was like, I'm going anyway?
Yes.
Like, why did I hire this guy? I'm going to go myself.
She wanted to wear the coat immediately while it was still dripping fresh.
Yeah, probably.
She probably wanted to go help kill the puppies.
Yeah, probably.
Give me a hammer. I'll make it faster.
What were their starting points?
That's just hand waving away. It's fine. That's not a thing I want to argue about because we got we're cranking through this movie. So then from here they everybody meets up at the Cruella estate. All the bad guys they eventually start headed there. What's interesting is the humans figure out that Cruella is the one who kidnapped the puppies.
Yeah, well, she, very, very obviously, like, how did you not know this? She came to your house and freaked out about the puppies, like, went totally bonkers about the puppies. Like, how would you not immediately, like, wow, all of our puppies went missing and nothing else in the house? I wonder who could have been interested in my puppies. Like, you'd think they would put two and two together instantly, but it takes her happening upon her old drawings somewhere to be like, oh yeah, this thing happened in my life. Like,
And
what is going on?
Reporting to the cops what happened, and they're like, officers, we think Corella did it. And they're like, oh, Corella DeVille? But she's a perfectly upsetting citizen. We should go to her house immediately. And like they all go to her house, including the civilians. And the cops, like, it cuts back to the cops walk out with the Siberian tiger. My God, we found the dead Siberian tiger inside. You were correct. And I was like, why are these civilians here?
Yeah. And they also show up with like 200 dudes at her house. Like
yeah,
the very
they called a threat that they had a spoon in the house for how many British police showed up.
Yeah,
it's an actual raid, and then it's hilarious because the cop in that scene, he makes his own lines so dramatic. He's like, "Madam and Mister, we found that you were correct," and he's like hesitating between scenes. He's like, "We can only hope that we still have time." Like Adam,
such intense
like, bro, like,
movie.
The cops are so hilarious in these movies.
Yeah.
Insane people.
But yeah,
she's not in her house. However, she still has an estate outside of town. We're going there now with the SWAT team and everybody.
Yeah, so they set off another 200 cops.
The cop, he says she's headed to her estate in Suffolk, and we've contacted the local police. And then I think you don't see that guy again. Then the police and local place in the other area where they end up going are the ones that show up. It's funny, the police in this movie are like real life police, where it's like they only show up after something happens, not like to save the day. They just kind of are there to be like, all right, we're here. All right, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean when things can happen in seconds, they're there in minutes if you're lucky. So yeah, show up afterwards. Which is what happens in the movie too.
So then we come back to the estate. The puppies get free, and of course, Corella calls the Dr. House and Mr. Weasley, like, "All right, kill the puppies now. We'll figure it out when Skinner gets there." You know, which is funny because, like, man, what if he has a specific way he wants you to kill them? They're like, nah, we'll just get the fire iron and beat the hell out of them, and Mr. Weasley flips the table that you were eating on and breaks the chair leg off, like, oh, get him.
We'll club him.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's a recurring thing that keeps being said throughout the movie. Like, Corella says it to them and says it to Skinner every time. She's like, I don't care how you do it. Drown them, murder them, set them on fire, kill those puppies. And it's like, all right, dude, geez. Like multiple scenes, she becomes like a cartoonish villain.
Yeah, at one point when she's stalking through the barn, she's like, "It's the smell of extinction." It's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Yeah,
she takes it up to 11. It is fantastic.
I mean, like she does a wonderful job, but it's like noticeable. Yeah.
But yeah, so at this point, the puppies escape and slapstick shenanigans ensue. I don't want to cover each joke that they have. You should watch the movie yourself if you want, Chad. But basically what happens is the puppies...
Yeah, we can hear you, Des.
Okay, cool, I'm back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Hi.
At this point, the puppies basically escape the estate, except for Lucky, and then they go off and they lead Corella on a wild chase, and they lead the two thieves on a wild chase. And eventually Skinner shows up at the estate, so now it's Skinner and Lucky in their face-off that we talked about earlier with Peg, and then now it's all the other 100 puppies. And like all the farm animals know what's up, and they know that they're immune to plot damage, so they start doing shenanigans to ruin everybody's chances. Like a whole bunch of bunnies show up and begin stamping the ground to make tracks to lure the people in the wrong directions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the raccoons show up and sabotage their car, the goons' car. So that when they drive away, well, first off, they can't drive away because there's a thing shoved in their tailpipe, and then when they do drive away, it catches on fire and they have to bail out. and then they're led astray by the various woodland animals. At one point, their testicles get exploded by electricity. Very neat, very neat. There's even a sound effect.
That's not related to the farm animals though. That's just because they're walking.
That was their own stupidity.
Yeah. Yeah.
For one, like you can't even say that was the farm animals. Like the farm animals absolutely conspired to kill them with rocks, but that was just on them.
Yeah,
That
it really was
just their own fault.
Yeah, 100% them.
You didn't like the scene where Arthur Weasley was wearing blackface?
I did like that scene.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut
He took a huge load to the face, and for a while after that, he was wearing blackface. The scene before, he was super whiteface from freezing. So he really runs the gamut.
He's like, I want heat, and then the car is on fire. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, dude, that was awesome. Yeah, he's like,
I don't know.
I'm freezing. And yeah,
that was too stupid for me to be like even get mad.
It was awesome. It was literally peak.
I don't know about that. I think there's so much like slapstick humor in the movie that it kind of it kind of gets numbing.
Slapstick humor. Okay. Holy crap!
But ultimately, with those guys, does it not fit? Like, does it do anything?
No, it does.
To the overall plot, like either way, like they were more or less incapacitated with the truck. Like we could have had them just kind of be left behind with the truck not working. But instead we got like a few minutes of them being goofy and having a funny thing with the truck either way. And they were useless either way. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of your taste. Like, does it work that this is added in and funny versus like, is it relevant?
Well, I think maybe if the end of their little plot line had been better, I might feel better about all of it, you know, because their plot line just kind of it's just like, oh, well, the cops found them in the field off screen.
That's not true. They're like, oh, hey, there's someone to save us from dying in the woods because we're like freezing and keep on running into slapstick humor, and they're like, oh, we're in jail. Like, to be honest, this is better than where we were at beforehand.
It's warm in this jail car.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just felt very anticlimactic, and that's kind of the last act of this movie is just kind of a slow anticlimactic like walk through.
It is very anticlimactic. I'll agree.
Yeah,
things just kind of like they just kind of fall into place. Like, well, all right, we're here now, and things are good. All right.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Like, the whole end, like, it's not the dogs that do anything, and it's not the like owners who do anything. It's random animals that show up like 2/3 of the way through and like help out. It's not like any of the people that like we care about or any of the animals that we care about. It's like, here's the random like pig and raccoons trolling them, and it's a good scene. And I'd keep it, but I wouldn't make it like the final thing before Cruella gets, you know.
Yeah, there's no confrontation.
That's not the turning point. Yeah, I know what you mean. Functionally. Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I feel like the original does do that. Like there is some like big confrontation where they, you know, beat her up and kill her with rocks before, you know, they go and reunite with their owner.
Maybe I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I feel like there is. That's a vibe.
I'm not gonna say, but it's more so the dogs doing it anyway, not like, you know, the side animals.
So and she like kind of just sleepwalks around the barn, just kind of like moving around, and then bad things just happen to her.
It's not. I'll disagree with that. It's not really sleepwalking. It is like, I'm going to, you know, get this animal. I'm going to get that animal, and then just like in the middle of getting that,
she's just
animal,
like monologuing.
Oh yeah. No, she's monologuing to herself about how she hates the animals, and how she's going to get them. And as she slowly walks over to them, then a different animal like just
screws her. There some more. And that's just That's just the whole scene. It just kind of feels slow and plodding, and they dunk her into 2 separate vats of poo, and it's like, all right, I get
the
it.
first one's molasses, or the second one's molasses.
No, the second one's definitely poo. I thought the first one was poo too.
No, the first one is a vat of molasses. The second one, she falls into a vat of manure.
Yeah, it's like the pig slop area.
Yeah, it's the pig slop area. I don't know if it's crap, but it's still like, it's dirty and whatever.
Yeah.
Close enough. But the first one is molasses. That is molasses.
Okay, so I thought it was just like sticky, liquidy poo. I don't know that it really.
It's sticky, liquidy sugar.
Yeah, and it's just very gross. So they just do 2 very gross things like right in a row, and it's like you're losing it. You're losing it. Like I get it. And then they all get sprayed by the skunk in the police car.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and it's like okay, yeah, it's they're having a gross time. It's a gross old time in that police car. I get it. I understand, movie.
But
I don't know.
The animals gotta have their revenge, man.
I guess.
That's true.
Maybe I'm just not enough of a kid at heart to enjoy this.
Also, it wasn't poop, dude. You just thought it was poop, and it made it worse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the second one probably has some poop in there, but the first one doesn't. That's for sure.
The second one, you know what? For the first one, I could forgive that 100%. The second one, I don't think it would. I don't think so. I don't think you would.
Well,
think
if the second one doesn't have it, then the first one definitely doesn't. I'll say that.
The first one does.
The first one's molasses. What do you mean?
The first one has what? Des, are we really arguing about what could be thought of as poop right now?
First one is just molasses. Oh, does she fall into?
It's launched out into pig poop.
Okay, yeah,
well,
so it's like a big area of pig poo. That's like their poop.
No. The second one is the pig poo, but it seems like Pop is saying that the pig poo doesn't exist. There's no pig poo there.
I think he's just saying there's just mud there.
I'm saying the first one's molasses.
Did I mix it up?
Oh, is he saying the
second movie? I think you may have
movie?
mixed it up.
No, I think we thought you were talking about the second movie.
No, in the first movie. I think.
Yeah, we're talking about the first.
So she falls into the vat first, the vat of goop first.
Yeah,
Pops,
and
then she gets thrown out of the bar.
There's 2 things that happen. Are you talking about the second movie, Pops, or what were you saying?
In that case,
okay.
Why have if it's not a vat of poo? Why have the trap door then?
The trapdoor is so because you don't want stuff falling into the molasses. You want the molasses to get dirty.
That's where there's a trapdoor, Peg. What are you, retarded?
Exactly. Come on.
You can dump what in the molasses?
Cruella.
Oh, of course. I should have thought of that. Yeah.
As a treat.
As a treat.
You're filthifying her, skin outfit, her fur outfit. You're just making it lose its value.
All right, boys.
I'm
gonna be
I get that.
Go ahead and finish up the movie and summarize at the end. I'll be right back. I got something to take care of.
This is
but once was enough.
This is Scooby-Doo logic. I'm gonna be honest.
It is Scooby-Doo logic. I'm not.
You need to accept the trapdoor and the molasses. Okay. The pig
sure.
poo,
Okay. I'm willing to do that.
We're a little debatable, but the trapdoor and molasses, you need to get over that, Pat.
Yeah. Okay. No, you're right. You're right. You got me. I should have just been like, okay, there's a trapdoor, at least a molasses, just because. It doesn't need an explanation. Yeah, and then she gets thrown out into the pig poo, and it's just all very gross. And the police show up, and they're like, "Oh, we gotcha! Look at you, Cruella de Vil!" And she starts, frothing and foaming. Not all furious. That's how Cruella de Vil is defeated. Scat, in excess of scat. So
we're not all grossed out by a pig pen, all right? So
look, I mean,
listen, that doesn't take away from the quality of the film for me.
I think it does, though. Oh, okay.
I really don't. I think it's all right.
I think it's too much.
I don't think
it just goes on.
It's a numerical, it loses a star or anything because of it's poop. You know what I mean?
No. What I'm saying is,
I don't think it's an issue that the both happen. I think the bigger issue is that it's random animals doing all this, and we're not getting this big confrontation at the end. I don't even think the bigger issue.
I don't even think that's the actual issue. I think that this is a poorly structured scene. I think that the scene itself needs to be faster. I think it needs to be punchier. I think things.
I could maybe agree with that.
She delivers the monologue.
is this the Cruella ranting to the animal saying,
Yes.
next thing you
This
know,
is the
you'll be on a plate, and then the horse
Mhm.
kicks
Yep.
her up.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
That
all
was
good, yeah.
That was she was totally like 100% like I am at war with these animals, and she's like, beast, you'll be red meat on a plate. I'll have the laugh. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was like total schizo. Yeah.
I agree that the scene. I think that all this stuff that happens there is fine, but like, yeah, it probably should have happened a bit quicker. Like,
Yeah.
there
Like
at that point, I definitely
okay.
felt like some parts was dragging, and that
Yes.
this more than the like beginning with the bike. Like, this is where I'm like, we can cut some. Like, can we speed this up? Like, we don't need to
Well, this
have
part,
schizo ranting as much, or like if she's schizo ranting, maybe include some like slapstick in the middle of it so I can actually like
Or
stay awake.
what-
Like I just don't like.
What they
well,
should have
the
done.
whole point is that it ends with a big slapstick that's like her final defeat.
Yeah.
You know. So like it didn't
That's
bother
the
me. I understand. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that it's fine, but if you say it should be cut down, like I can't like argue with you. You know.
Well, what I'm saying is right.
I don't
Let me spin this yarn for you, Pops. Let me spin this yarn for you. So, like, they have the monologue at front. She says the monologue because I think it's a good monologue. I like that monologue. She says the monologue. She's completely demented, out of her mind, and then the animals just boom, 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 boom. All of the things happen one after another. She like the raccoon runs in front of her, so she is startled and takes a couple of steps back. They pull the trapdoor, so she falls in the molasses, gets out of it, gets kicked by a horse or something, and then she falls onto the wood panel and gets thrown out of the barn. All just one after another, leading up to the big one, and then she's in the poo, and that's that. Like,
you know what I thought
of
about
scene.
that? It's funny that I thought about that as I was watching it, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is almost justifiable because it's established very like in the opening scene that Pongo, who set it up, is like aware of like complex machinery and stuff." And then I
Pongo
had
didn't
to
even
stop.
set up.
I had
Pongo's
to.
not there,
I
is
had
he?
to stop myself, Des. Please, I had to stop myself and being like, "This is a dog." Like, wait a minute. So yeah, I get it. I get it. If you're like, all right, dude, come on. Like, no way this is like guaranteed perfect planning every time. Like,
Yeah.
Des, what were you gonna say?
Pongo wasn't even there, is he? Was he?
No, none of the Dalmatians were there at that point.
Well,
I
I mean,
forget
like,
Actually bothered me more than
who-
anything. By the way, I'm back. Nuddle Furious is definitely vats of poop. Don't worry. That bothered me more than everything that the Dalmatians weren't there to kick the crap out of Cruella. Other animals did.
Yeah.
well, more than that, I'm just saying, like, Pongo didn't set anything up there, like, at all.
I thought there was a scene. I thought there was a scene at some
Was
point where
Pongo
he was.
even at the farm? Like, I'll be honest, I don't remember.
There was
Pongo...
one.
No,
I
don't
forget.
think so.
It may not have been there, but there was some scene where he was present and like a trap was set, either for her or maybe for like the house guy. But I could have figured there was something that he said.
I don't think
looked
so.
like-
Yeah,
No.
Pongo
Dalmatians
and
never saw the puppies until the.
Maybe it was another time.
yeah, like the adult Dalmatians are out of the picture. Like, they're as much of a factor as freaking the two humans. Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Which I don't
Yeah, they're
like.
just like anxiously waiting at home.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will say something
Alright.
to remember about cutting things down. This film's dangerously almost not a feature film. It's only an hour and 40.
Like,
So-
I agree, but like you could also add stuff in with like the humans, or just
I
add
agree.
stuff
I'm
with
just,
the
I'm
adult
just
dogs.
saying, like, when we talk about cutting stuff,
Nah.
that's
Nah,
the reason
I feel
probably
like
didn't.
This could be an hour and 10.
I agree with hour and a half. I agree with cutting stuff, but I can see why they didn't.
Well, it's not even. I mean, we're not overall. We'd probably add time. It's just that we cut some parts and add more like other places.
Maybe, yeah. I could see
Like,
that because
overall,
I
don't
would
even know
want.
if it'd be like, a down in time. It'd be more, but we'd like cut out like some, stuff
Dude.
that isn't working.
When I'm watching a film called 101 Dalmatians, I'm watching it for the Dalmatians.
Yeah,
not for the...
give me the adult Dalmatians. I don't need the little puppies running away, and then we don't see. I want to see Cruella get beat up by the Dalmatians. I don't want to see. I didn't watch 101 pigs. I didn't see 101 horses. I didn't come here to see the horses beat her up. I came to see Dalmatians beat her up. Dang it!
I agree completely. Just because the
And,
dog
I mean,
trainer
they could have.
clearly had like these dogs trained on fleek, he could have done some crazy stuff with these dogs. He could have shot ninja stars out of their ass, and I would have been like, "Yep, I can believe that."
Dogs could have pushed Cruella off of a cliff. Okay, that's how well trained these dogs are.
There should have been an exploding helicopter.
Yeah. I think that's it, though.
Yeah. Well, they all go home, and they bring the 100 Dalmatians, or the 99 Dalmatians that Cruella had captured, back to the house, and they're like, "Hey, we're the police, and we don't know how to find where these Dalmatians came from. So you want 100 Dalmatians?"
No, that's how American police are. These are the British police. They, "Hi, Governor, would you do us a slight favor? We don't know where this puppy goes. Do you mind taking a couple of them?" "Oh, of course, sir." "All right, here you go. Have all of the dogs. Now fuck off. We gotta go arrest the kid for having a stick shaped like a knife."
It's like, "Oh, can you help us like with this small thing? Can you take all of these dogs?" And there's like,
Oh wait,
101
yeah,
of them.
that was.
It's
that
like,
was,
okay, like.
And now this ties back into something we talked about earlier. Pops, take it from here.
That was when that's why I brought up the notebook before that the Skinner had about like each address and how many puppies came from each one. Because it was like the police would have I thought maybe he stuffed it into his coat pocket or something, and the police investigating would have discovered that he had a list of addresses where the puppies came from. Instead of being like, "Well, madam, if you don't house 100 puppies at your house, they'll have to go to the pound and they'll die." Like, it's like, wait, hang on. Like, I thought we knew on record where they came from.
We're going to have to fire these puppies into the ocean.
Yeah, it's like literally, he's like, "Well, if you don't take them,
dude, if you don't take them, they're
over.
all dead. We will just.
Yeah.
We're actually
Stupid
gonna
enough
shoot
to marry this guy
as
after
soon
meeting
as
him
you
for a
stay
minute.
out.
You're gonna take these puppies or we're killing them.
Yeah.
We're going to do it one
Like,
by one with the rest watching.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're gonna film it on TV.
We're gonna live stream it into your living room.
Your living room, exactly.
But yeah, and thus ends the film. And it was all right. I'd say it's a 5 out of 10. It's, you know, I've seen way worse films. Gosh, I've seen worse films.
Oh, one more thing. Roger becomes a not failed game designer. He makes a game, uses Cruella de Vil's likeness to make her a villain in his game. It sells massively. He becomes a millionaire, buys a castle, and boom, there's 101 Dalmatians running around, and they're all now adult Dalmatians just swarming over his fields. No doubt mauling any mailman unfortunate enough to step on their land to death.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
It is pretty
that also, by the way, I think that is basically the best they could do as far as like recapturing what happens in the original. You remember the animated where he's a songwriter and he writes a song that goes Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil, and it's
most 2000s kids like thing ever.
Yeah, all right, so as you can see on screen chat, this is my favorite like opening scene ever. It opens with a guy named Dr. Pavlov who's showing all these evil experiments he's done. It's an MK Ultra. He's like, "Look at this. I have done MK Ultra on the dogs and the cats, and they love it."
It's literally electroshock therapy.
Like, the fact that it's Dr. Pavlov, that's peak. I love that joke. I love the fact that he's called Dr. Pavlov.
Is that his actual name?
Yes.
Yes,
that's so funny.
And it gets better. It gets better because you see he's like, yes, we have experiment 319 here, and they go through. Oh, okay, so there's 300 experiments, and then it goes to Cruella, who's experiment 6660.
Yeah.
So that implies that he figured out how to get puppies and foxes to hang out like with animals, and then it took him another 6,000 animals that he killed before he got to Cruella.
Oh no.
So yeah, and then her lawyer's there, and he's like, "Doctor, you should learn Swedish. You're getting a Nobel Prize for this."
Yeah, dude, I know, it's awesome.
It's just insane. And then it goes to a court case for her. We're like, "Oh yes, Miss Cruella de Vil. Please call me Ella now."
Whatever. Her like probation hearing. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, yes, how rich is she? And her lawyer is like, "Well, after I take my sizable and worthy chunk of her, she has about 8 million left, a pittance."
Only about 8 million. A mere 8 million. says.
Mhm.
It's perfect. And by the way, while all of this is happening, the main Dalmatians are currently well, we got our Roger. Who's Roger in this movie?
Dipstick.
The Roger in this film is Mr. Fantastic.
There's
Mr.
Dipstick.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
is the
Mr.
Roger.
Fantastic is in this. So by the way, yeah, so there's a probation officer who becomes Corella's probation officer, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's
and she's got
what's her
a pet
face?
Dipstick.
Yes.
And a
Who is-
random other dog that they're already together.
Which is kind of funny because like it implies that like all the people on like Roger and whatever her face Anita or whatever it is like gave away some of the dogs, and like based on the ending of the first movie, it's such a weird like it's clear that they just couldn't get them back because like based on the ending with the whole 10 acres of
What?
Dalmatians, like they probably wouldn't give any of them away, especially the first generation. Like maybe
Yeah, for
the
real.
grandkids, but like not the second generation. No way.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that. Seems terribly unlikely with how possessive they were being of those dogs.
Especially
think,
since this is only 3 years after the events of the movie.
that was funny when you take into account like the kind of setting as far as like this is like Roger made video games in the last one, but it still felt kind of like there was a rural like kind of outskirts of the city and everything versus this one takes place and it's like no, everything is like technology in the city and
Like
we're on
junkyards and industrial hubs.
computer.
Yep.
It felt a little more intense as far as the urban stuff went.
Yeah, the other one was very suburban, where it's like, oh, you can have a nice, you're in the park, you're hanging out, blah blah blah. There's, it's not too many industrial stuff. This one's like, we're in a junkyard. We live in a junkyard, actually. Okay, I guess. Sure. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like we live in a crap hole. It's like, okay, like I guess.
But yeah, our boy is so there's the cool connection is that the woman who owns Dipstick, my favorite puppy, obviously from the last given his name. So he's had a batch of puppies himself and he's very proud. And so anyway, she's a probation officer, which is ironic because she is one of the people who kind of says like has the spirit of like, I don't know if this person can change, but she gets assigned.
She is the biggest Calvinist in this film. Like
She
everyone at the end becomes a Calvinist, but she is a probation officer who is a firm Calvinist. She believes everyone is.
she's
Yeah,
she's very explicit about it too. When she sees that Corella got out of prison, she's like, there's no way they let her out of prison. And then she gets assigned Cruella as a probation officer or as her client. And she's like, I think you should work in the mines or in the quarry.
Not only that, but she's also like, you'll never change.
Yeah, like explicitly.
Yeah, she's like, you'll never change. Like Cruella does all this like good stuff. She's like helping all the puppies. She wants to like stop all the like go against her former job of like the
and stuff. Yeah, like she's
like I want to kill the fashion industry. I want to kill them with rocks.
Well,
and she's like, no, you can't go near them. You're evil. It's like, oh, come on.
She has like PTSD when she sees her fur coat. She like has them buried in her little like basement, like weird coffin thing.
She puts them in her what
she has like an
dude her dude her yeah she's
straight on full
her house is literally from
that
like the
hilarious.
1700s, and she has a painting that leads to like a Count of Monte Cristo like dungeon area where like she can just block anyone in if she wants to.
She flew at the cast of Montiano.
Yeah. Yeah, like Peg. She has like open fire like torches lining the walls for light. Like it's a dungeon. It's hilarious.
It's so fun.
That's so funny.
But yeah, so we get what's messed up almost about it is that like or initially they played the song. It's like the hip hop Cruella de Vil. We can't trust her. Blah 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 blah. Blah. And so and immediately after that we get a scene specifically from the people who were doing like the animal behavior rehab experiment like MK Ultra shock therapy stuff, and then we see that when they hear like a loud banging noise like a clock,
Big bed.
it reverts their brain. They like lose their training, and so they're like, oh goodness, like the cat killed the canary, the fox is chasing the rabbit. Now we can't rehab them if they hear this loud noise, and so they're like, this can never get out. This information.
Unfortunately for everybody, the probation officer has her office right next to Big Ben.
Literally, like, so she has the window open from her office, and the bell rings at like 9 a.m. or whatever. It tolls the time. It pounds through your bones and stuff, and that's established early on with another one of her clients. But Des pointed this out too as well.
What happens as Cruella has basically successfully rehabbed her image and is actually being a good person, we see she shows up for a meeting, and unfortunately Dipstick has a little bit of a problem. You see, one of the puppies Dipstick has is a sinner. It got born ugly and God hates it. Its name is Oddball. It does not have spots.
She doesn't have spots.
Yeah, we don't give it its gender. It's a disgusting lump of flesh that God has forgotten. Just ask Oddball. Yeah, they give this dog like spot dysphoria and it hates itself. It's really weird. And the dog's constantly trying to like rub on ink and stuff. I don't think the dog has a complex concept of this. And like it happens within seconds. The dog's totally fine. It's like, yep, I love that my family. The first time she sees a mirror, it's like, I don't have spots. I better go roll in ink and basically jump off a cliff to get a little bit blacker.
And, I know exactly. That's what I was gonna say. She doesn't even realize until like the end, or like until she looks at a mirror for the first time. It's so funny.
And then immediately goes, I am forsaken by my family. I must recognize this immediately, or I'll be an outcast from society as a whole.
Well, what's funny about that is that it is reinforced by the other dogs or the talking parrot.
Dude, the parrot is so funny. He's such a...
By the way,
backs up Pag's point from the other film to continue.
But yeah, we should mention the parrot, given that at this point. So what happens is Cruella finds out about the second chance animal shelter, right?
She finds it because the dude who is also her thing is like didn't get money from the charity, so he has to give her an IOU to say like, no, I am not selling drugs again.
Yeah.
Don't put me in jail.
So the chat understands. Her original scene that we see as a probation officer is that her first client is an Irish guy who's like an ex-thief who like is on probation and is working at an animal shelter that's going broke, obviously, and it's run by our parallel to Roger, whose name escapes me. But anyway, yeah, Chad, yeah, Mr. Fantastic. But anyway, so yeah, what happens is Cruella notices that there's like documents and photos from the animal shelter on the lady's desk, and she's like, "Oh, I love puppies. I'll go over there." And next thing you know, as the animal shelter is getting like shut down and the guy is getting evicted, and they're telling like the bailiff who comes up to evict them, like, when the press gets here, they'll hate you for taking a bunch of dogs and setting them loose in the streets and everything. And then the news shows up and they're all like, hey, everybody, point your cameras at the dogs. And then it's ironic because the news is pointing at Cruella de Vil, who's showing up in her car and ends up like buying the place because she's a millionaire.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Actually wants to help the puppy because at this point, Cruella's a good person.
Yeah, at that
He has
point,
reformed her. She hasn't gotten Big Bend.
people can change. She hadn't gotten Big Bend yet. Yeah.
The almost homeless puppies and the Chaticus and the evil Irish thief. She's hanging out with them, and she says, "Oh, you guys are doing it all wrong." So she like invests a whole bunch of money into this thing and builds like a luxury dog salon that she herself grooms the dogs in because she's a good person now. And the whole time, our main character lady, she's like, "This Cruella, she's an evil beast. She's got doing something." And at this entire time, Cruella's actually a good person. It's very funny. And our hero Chaticus is like, no, Cruella's great, man. Have you seen what she's done? She personally kisses each puppy goodnight, and they love her. And my parrot, he thinks he's a puppy. He also is very happy.
You know what? You know what was pretty whack about that, and it actually like almost kind of broke my heart. Was that as somebody who has like worked, animal control and working at shelters and handling and everything like that and training, the people who know how to do like dog grooming, they honestly have like the magic touch. Like if you can get a dog to be comfortable and like groom it and give it a haircut and do all the stuff that she did with like the little bow tie and stuff in real life, usually like you really got the magic touch. Like, I don't know, you're like the dog whisperer. Groomers always were like cool like that to me. I don't even know if I could do that, but yeah. I always was like,
to me, Ops 2K25.
But yeah, she as an occupation.
I quickly got to look at chat real second. Not all fair. Tell me if my audio is still dying. Also, good to know that Guara has finally graduated, and the chat will be flooded.
Why are we talking about Guara?
Well, I don't know why, but AJB was correct because the amount of viewers has doubled since he posted that.
Do not bring up VTubers, okay?
Sir, the chat has doubled since he typed that, so we'll bring them up as much as we dang well please. Make sure to donate all the money you were going to give to her to me. Remember, chat, I read your chats. Welcome back, Alex Gomez.
Yeah.
But yes. And at that point, Pops, what's the next thing that happens major plot-wise? Is it just the Belle scene next, or...
Let me
No, there's her tour of her being good and just,
Yeah, so we see several scenes of her being a good person, while the music plays stuff like, Cruella de Vil, she was evil, but now she thinks she's good, but she's definitely not. Oh, ho, ho, we don't like her. It's like, it's almost like they play the Grinch song for her.
It's not even that. It's like she was bad, now she's good. It's like it's not even she's going to be bad again. It's just I was bad, but now I'm good. So like it's just that.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is.
No, it literally is. It's the song scene where like it's like, oh, we can't trust her. What is she up to? And then she goes crazy because the puppy climbs on the roof like immediately after the scene where we see them in the lab with like the bell like noises with the fox and everything. And
By
then,
the way, I do want to shout out
Des
a joke. I do want to shout out the joke that happened in the lab, Pops. So as we see on TV, the lab assistant is deaf, and he's watching a TV show with the volume maxed. That's called, and he goes, now we attend to part 3 of our 30-part series, Big Ben. How loud can it tick?
Is that what that was? That's
yes,
awesome.
It was great. Me and Pops, we saw that in the call, and we just had to pause it because we were laughing so hard. It's like, I can't think of a better indictment of British TV than that.
That's so funny.
By the way, Alex Gomez, you missed the entire end of the first movie and the entire start of the second movie. You can rewatch the VOD. It'll be up on the channel immediately when this one's done. Don't worry, buddy. But yeah, so obviously they see the puppy outside, so the main lady tries to dive outside to save Oddball, and there's a whole scene of her being pulled in by her legs and stuff. But oh no, the window's open, and the window, which can mute all sound, suddenly doesn't. And then Big Ben strikes once, and you see it hits Cruella like somebody hit her in the face with a freaking 2x4. She goes like, ah! Yeah, I'm actually see if I can fast forward to the scene for it, Pops. It's very funny. Let's see.
Total like
She's almost
Boom.
saved because then and it's set up earlier in the film because in the first scene where whatever the
the
guy's
probation.
name is, the probation,
Irish
yeah,
guy.
well the probation, the guy Big Ben hits very loudly. So
And he's like, I can't even get my own story straight. And so she closes
See,
the
it's
window.
happening on screen.
So what happens?
right now, or like?
So what happens is like, the
Here's
nanny lady or secretary is playing a video game, and all the puppies are like playing. They're watching her play a
and they're
video
kicking
game.
her ass.
She's playing crappy. What's it called?
Crappy's Tekken,
Donkey.
and the dog is
She's
beating
playing
the ever
crappy
loving
Wii
snot out of her.
boxing.
It's very funny.
But to open the window again, and then the next thing you know, she is literally seeing spots everywhere, and she's like trancing through the streets of London, like going insane. And that actually, as a little kid, I think I told you guys that like used to freak me out because I was like, you mean for the rest of the movie? Like, is that what she sees when she looks at the world? Because they zoom out and it's like Big Ben,
Everyone's
everything,
spot.
the whole,
Yep.
Every.
all black and white spots. It was like freaky. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was that was intense. It was very intense.
Mhm.
I like that scene ultimately, but like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, if she's constantly seeing that, then it's like, yeah, all right. Well, I guess I get why you're totally crazy.
No, what's
Our
also
mobile phone.
I don't know though, but I think it was better that they left it ambiguous to a 5-year-old me, of course.
Basically, have Corella just go super evil. She begins like you can see rolling around, loving her things again. She wants to kill puppies. In fact, she wants to kill puppies so much that she teams up with the French, who's the funniest character.
She
in this
breaks
movie.
back. She breaks back into her little sarcophagus, little like secret closet where she was like, oh, the forbidden pleasures of fur coats and things like that. And then she jumps back and she's like, I love all this and I'll never leave here forever. And then we see the greatest scene in the whole movie with our French man on the runway. Right, Des?
Oh yeah. Then she's like, She's like, okay, my old goons, Mr. House, he's gone. He doesn't exist. I need new goons. So now we get someone who can truly match her energy. We get Gay Liar to join her on her crusade.
Yeah, he is him in the flesh. He's French. He's gay. What more do you need? He's pompous, and his last name is Lefleur. Which he's got to be evil.
No, wait. It's
No, it's Lapel. It's Lapel.
Lapel.
First name's Lapel. I thought it's Lapel Lefleur.
No, it's
Oh, it might be. It might be Lapel.
No, his last name's Lefleur because she wants to protest Lefleur at the beginning of the movie. I know that's his last name.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was. So Lepelt is his first name.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, that is
That checks
doubly
out.
as funny.
No, dude,
So
the scene that introduces him is perfect because it's all this like very pompous, very stuck up, fashion thing.
The
And then you have
what's the song?
Yeah, and then you have
What's
the
the song
protest
they're
that
playing?
throw like paint on him, and then it's perfect. Then he goes to his office, and you just have these stereotypical, no, you must like this, and he's like, like get out of the way, like it's
trying to kill half his staff because they screwed up letting the people in. And the guy, and Corella, there's the guy. He's like, fuck off. No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you don't deserve to be in you can't be in her presence. You're too good. Get out of here. And then and then her henchman tries to show up, the one who showed up for like the past 3 years every
Alonso.
day, and she's like, and he like rejects. He's like, get out of here. It's like 3 times, and then she's like, oh, why'd you bring the puppies in here, you stupid idiot? And it's like, oh, he's with you. Okay, cool.
I think he bought to this thing, skin puppies, and the French guy was like, oh, I love skinning puppies.
No. Not only that, he's like, I love skinning puppies, but stealing, that's a bridge too far. Bridge too far to steal. Skinning puppies, I love that. But stealing, I could never.
Yeah, this character, I thought I was going to hate him, having a French version of Cruella, but he is worth watching the film for on his own. Like,
He's amazing. I love that
awesome.
every scene he's got like the cheetah print or the leopard print like jacket on or the shorts on.
Like a thong. It's hysterical.
It's literally
No,
like
dude, not only that, he has like the gaudiest haircut, like ever.
yes,
At
he's
all
got like
times.
a mullet. Like imagine a mullet, but it was a French person. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. He is just magnifique, as they would say.
You can tell they cast that actor to actually be gaudy because he's got like that big nose that like spoilers that
absolutely.
the direct like
Everything
but
he
yeah,
wears.
yeah.
Yeah.
And whoever
It's
picked him just
perfect.
did a fantastic job. That actor just completely sold that. Changed my life watching that.
He's like Cruella. He just chews the scenery. Like everywhere he is.
Chops
He's
the
like,
scenery.
he's like, let me make, this is absurd, let me make it more absurd. And then it's just between him and Cruella, it's like, who can make the scene more absurd? Like they're just fighting over that title, like the entire time.
They were guys kid, I don't know if you can pull it up, but do you know that picture of like the jaguar underwater that's like every Disney villain be like they escaped, capture them. And it's like do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't
Nope.
really know.
Like
I could pop it on the screen.
Dude, hang on. I will find it. But it's like the way that they basically characterize, like they visually look like over the top Disney cartoonish villains.
Absolutely.
If you
Um
this guy was going to play like Kronk in the live action version of
Oh
Emperor's New
my
Groove,
goodness,
I think he
shut
crushed
up.
it. Obviously, he needs Patrick Warburton's voice, but he has the physicality to do it. He's got that slapstick thing. I just looked at this guy. This guy's a hero. I love this man. I don't even know who he is. He's my favorite French person I've ever seen on screen.
hang on. Yeah, hang on. I'll show
You're
you.
totally right.
Not a
He
high
does
bar,
have
but
that
there is a
perfect
bar there.
look. Yeah. Yeah. And then of course we got this next scene where they go to a puppet show. It's so
They go to a
stupid.
puppet show and Spot
Oh,
murders the
this
main
is
puppet because Oddball murders the main puppet because Oddball is the devil incarnate.
Well, not only that, but like the first thing, it's like she's like, "Oh hey, you're here," and it's with the scene where they flirt, and then it's like, "Oh hey, I got all my puppies, and here's Oddball who is sensitive about the fact that she has no spots," and the parrot's like, "Haha, you're pathetic. You're pathetic. You have no
Harvey's
spots."
naked.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, the parrot is a fascinating character. So, for those of you who don't know, the parrot thinks he's a Rottweiler because he was raised around dogs. So he's a parrot, so he talks. He just talks like a normal dude. Not even like how parrots kind of have weird things. No, he's just straight up a guy, but he thinks he's a dog. It's fascinating. He's like, "Oh man, I can't believe that happened." Or the cop show up,
he
like,
has
oink, pig alert. It's
he
the
has
parrot.
like human
Peg, it reminds
human
me of
hair,
like
like
a kid's version of how the pig in your story, linked below, by the way, if you want to read it for free, talks.
Yep. That
Like
is
not
so
only that, but it's so good because it's like this is how you really bark. Like he literally goes like that. Like it's
you know
clearly
what
a
though? You
dude
know what's
doing it.
great about that?
It's so good.
There's plenty of like videos and stuff online. There are like parrots can learn to do that. Like there's a great video, I think it's like
That
a
is
parrot
not
that
a parrot. Like it's good.
I
That is
swear
not
though,
a
like
parrot. But like yeah, I'm sure a parrot could do it.
they can do that, but obviously they can't hold like reasonable like debate level human
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, like barking, it's funny. I think there's one of a macaw arguing. It's like two German shepherds, and he just starts walking up to him, and he's like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," like, and everyone in the comments is like, "I think you might be able to sell your dogs now and just keep the parrot." Like
So
you
this is
don't
the meme
worry
Pop's
about
talking about,
power.
Chad. I got it on screen now.
But yeah, oh yeah, that is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, this guy totally embodies that energy. It's fantastic. All right, we're gonna put the show back on. Boom. So yeah, absolutely love this psychopath guy. They go to the fair, and of course, his shenanigans unfold. Where it's not Spot. Oddball gets kidnapped by a billion balloons because Oddball's just, chaos incarnate. And the parrot's like, "It's my hero moment. Go, parrot!" And the parrot's like, "I'm a dog, bro. I'm not going anywhere." So then Chad
No,
gets
it's literally so good because it's like, oh my goodness, Oddball ran out with the sweater. Where is she? And then it's like, oh, it's like, oh no, she's trapped by like literally they walk out and
they walk out the
Oddball
building.
just
It's like,
came
"I'm
floating
tied up by
away.
150 balloons. What are we gonna do?"
Yes, exactly. It's so good.
Like, if
And
you
then
give me
Mr.
$100
Fantastic
and said
has to
tie
get
this
her.
dog up, I don't think I'm going to tie the dog up with 150 balloons. Never mind how fast it got tangled up in that thing.
I know, exactly. It's so good. Especially since her parents are literally like right behind her. And somehow like it's
Yeah. She gets out and gets like 200 feet away, tied up, sails away. And the parrot's like, "Well, I'm a dog. I can't help it all." So at that point,
and it's like, why are you trying to throw me? I can't fly. I'm a dog.
Yeah.
I'm a Rottweiler.
And at this point, Chad steps up and he charges into action. He runs across the rooftop, killing a local man working, and manages to save the puppy. He also rides the slide back down like a boss.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. He's like, I got her, and then he just rides the slide down.
Like kids like, 'cause Chad is Chad.
Yep.
And from there, of course, they fall immediately in love.
No, it's great.
And everything's
Then he's like,
fantastic.
no, you forget the line. She's like, can I do anything for you? And the dog's like, how about dinner? And then he's like,
Parrots like dinner.
yeah, no, the parrot says dinner, and then he's like, so dinner though, like actually though.
Yeah, for real though.
Oh,
Parrot's
And then
setting
she's
his
like,
homie up.
yes.
yeah.
So they have a nice, lovely dinner date where it just goes well. And what were they were watching movies again? What movies were they watching? With this one, I forget.
They watched Lady in the Tramp.
Was this not
Yeah,
a Lady
it
in the
was.
Tramp?
Yeah.
Yep, this
Oh,
is
It
Lady.
was all about their date. Very thematic.
And then kid shows up and he makes a big meatball with his dad.
Yeah, me and Dad cooked them a big meatball. It's great.
Hey, Luigi.
Oh, don't dox kid.
Luigi,
Don't dox kid.
Insurance agent you have to take care of.
Shut up.
But
Oh my.
at this situation, yeah. They go on a date. While they're on a date, though, Corella is plotting. She's gone full evil mode. And she now has a 95-step plan that was set up by Good Corella on accident. So
Yeah, not only that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he, Mr. Fantastic makes a fatal mistake. He's like, no, Corella is good, and hey, even if she's bad, if she makes one mistake, she's gonna like all the money's gonna go to my charity specifically, because there's actually no charity that helps animals within 500 miles. So it'd go all to me directly. In fact, I would benefit the most if she, for some reason, fell from grace.
The government said to give me all of her money. It'd be tragic if that happened and I got all of her money.
Yeah.
What would I ever do?
What would I ever do if I got $8 million? That'd be kind of sad.
Suddenly.
No.
A truly tragic turn of events this would be for me, Chad, the guy who's begging for money the whole movie. So,
and not only that, like as is cute during the date, they basically like as Lady and the Tramp is happening, they recreate Lady and the Tramp in real life.
Yeah, like poetry, it rhymes.
Exactly.
Tune in next week for that one, Chad.
Dude, it's gonna be peak.
So yeah, so at this point, would the stakes have been big if instead of a puppy it was an old dog? No, I think the puppies make it more impactful because an old dog is kind of at the end of its life, so don't worry. But anyway, so suddenly while they're on the date, shenanigans are happening. Puppies are being stolen from town. Somebody has been kidnapping almost 100 Dalmatians. Almost.
It's not true. We're right now. We only know about like 10 missing dogs.
There are 46 missing right now, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, are there?
Yes.
I was there.
We are rapidly approaching 100 missing Dalmatians. Very suspicious.
102 missing Dalmatians.
Yeah, well, yes. So the police are like, all right, look, we're not dumbasses. We know exactly what's going on here. Missing Dalmatians. Corella's out of jail. Let's just go arrest Corella. So
Not
they're
true.
like,
Go get
Let's
her.
go arrest Corella's boss.
well, no, they're like, let's go arrest. No, they say they're going to go arrest Corella. So the first thing they do is they show up at her boss's place because lo and behold, they got a tip that Corella, that there's some puppies here, and they're like, all right, look, we're just going to check it out. Then we're going to go deal with Corella because she's the real criminal. And oh no,
Not
it
true.
turns
They
out
think it's
Chad
Corella.
has a box of kidnapped puppies in here. Who could have placed them
not
here?
true. They think it's Corella's. They think it's Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, they blame my guy.
I thought they
Richard.
blamed Corella, and then they,
Nope.
No, he gets arrested,
one-
dude.
well, he gets arrested after they investigated. I thought.
No. What happens is he's like, I didn't do this. He's like, I was doing things last night. And then the lady shows up and she's like, it's Corella. Corella did it. I knew it was Corella. Corella's been guilty since day one. And then she's like, wait, you're arresting? Yeah. And then she's like, oh, you're arresting Mr. Fantastic? And then she's like, I'm things. Okay, I'm things. I admit it. And then it's like, and then Corella's like, well, I mean, and then he's like, I have no motivation to do this. Like, so I'm clearly innocent. And then he's like, and then Corella's like, by the way, my entire fortune goes to him if I went to jail. Is that a motivation? Like, teehee, literally like little schoolgirl, like pushing on her dimples, like acting as if like she's being subtle in the slightest.
Yes. That's exactly. She's like petting her own little dog, like deviously, being like, do you think maybe perhaps he is to blame for, this like contrived no motivation?
The police 100% think it's Mr. Fantastic. The only one who doubts is
because he goes to jail. He gets arrested.
The only one who's doubting is social worker, but social worker immediately turns on him, is like, I've been saying that Cruella is evil and she'll never change her ways, but actually the police said that you stole dogs, so now you're actually evil and you'll never change your ways. So you did it.
Don't you love how in the movie universe they call it like he's been charged with dog napping?
No, don't even spoil that yet. We're not there yet.
Dog
okay,
napping.
that's like
that's what they say.
They're like, look, we know you steal dogs for a living, buddy. You've done it before. We're arresting you.
He's a dog napper.
Yeah. No, and while this is happening, the guy who planted them, the guy who's visited Cruella every step of the way, is like one head turn away from being caught at any point of this. Like, there's like 5 scenes where if someone turns their head like 30 degrees, like it's all over. It's literally all over.
In the back of the police car, yeah.
That is ignoring also the fact that like he shows up like 10 minutes before the police do. And not only that, he's still in the building and like acts as if he gets out of Cruella's car like when she shows up. It's so good. It's peak.
Everyone died.
No, that's not what.
So that's when they have the
arrested. Chad's been arrested. Cruella and her French boy and the guy from earlier, they began teaming up, slowly kidnapping more dogs and gathering the resource they need to eventually smuggle them into France.
No, kid.
They do.
At this point, they have like all the dogs. Then she's like, actually, we need to have our Messianic ritual. And while we're having our Messianic ritual, you, French boy, you're actually going to do something
guy.
for once. You're going to actually get the last 3 dogs.
So Cruella actually has an Eyes Wide Shut party at her weird torchlit mansion, this is one of those things where I'm like, what kind of subconscious like MK Ultra programming nonsense are they trying to put into kids movies these days? But this was a disturbing scene to me as a little kid. So
It is a
anyway,
bizarre scene.
she invites Chloe, who's the owner of Dipstick, the Dalmatian, to a big pantry dinner or whatever, like a big thing, like this weird hedonistic feast in like her basement dining room that's like lit by torches in a castle. And
The way I
it's like,
described it is, if you put the music,
it's so
if you
weird.
put Hotel California over this, it would fit the track too
Yeah.
well, which is upsetting.
Well, not only that, but she only takes Dipstick, which is kind of weird that she doesn't also like take
The mother dog, who's unnamed.
the mother dog.
I
Yeah, I
don't
guess
know.
we don't ever give a name for the mother dog now that I think about it.
She doesn't matter. She's not Dipstick.
That's not true. We definitely get a name for her, but she doesn't do enough to be important for me to remember her name.
Dipstick, the hero.
She's not Dipstick, and she's not the evil spawn of Satan oddball. So yeah, she's not one of those two.
Characters in the whole film. But yeah, so
Exactly.
they have this weird Eyes Wide Shut party where like you half expect her to serve dog heads to people, and it's just off-putting and kind of gross. But like you can't place your
It's not
finger
even-
on why it's gross.
It's
I
weird.
wouldn't say
It's weird
gross,
because
it's disturbing. It's
Yeah.
disturbing, is what I'd say.
it's
It would
weird
place your finger
because
on it.
they show initially the whole setup is that it's like, you know, these wealthy, rich, civilized people with like, you know, dignified like dog breeds that are supposed to be like kind of regal, sitting next to them, being all neat next to the kitchen table. And then the next thing you know, it just kind of breaks out into chaos, and you see dogs like, you know, ripping things apart and chewing on bones and fighting with each other on the dinner table. And it's like, is this supposed to represent some kind of like weird, like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like
Well, not
this
only
kind
that,
of like,
but like
orgy of like hedonism. Like, what is going on?
not only that with like the dogs and stuff, but there's also the weird thing where like the meat on the plate is like fashioned in a weird way as well.
Yeah, it's
it's
like
not
greasy.
even like
It's like greasy, messy, fucking.
well,
Oh,
no,
sorry.
it's like the meat is shaped in a specific way. I don't like when I was looking at it, I wasn't like this is something, but like it's clearly meant to be in the shape of something.
Oh wait, yeah, I think I know what you mean. There's one frame where they show something that it looks like some kind of like roasted body, like turn. Yeah,
It's in like some
like
weird shape,
the
with,
very
like a
first
body or
the
like a
first
face
shot
or
they
something
show.
like
Yeah,
that.
it looks like a frog or something. Like,
Yeah,
it's not a
well,
frog, but it looks
frog.
it's
You're
that
right.
shape.
It's almost like a frog. It's like there's
It's
like
shaped that way, but
scenes
it's
where we see-
definitely it's way too. It's not a frog, but it's like shaped
Yeah.
that way to be like
No, I
this
get
is
what
the
you mean.
corpse of the thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a weird. For some reason they have that, and it's like this oddly intense, like it's like
The
eyes
scene is
wide shut
very
parallel.
intense, and it's so weird. And during this entire scene, this is where Cruella's dog, who like initially hated her, and then she's like, "Oh, she's good," and then immediately knew that she turned evil again. So then she's like, "Dipstick, follow me," and then she shows him the like,
Fluffy. Yes.
yeah, Fluffy shows him the Count of Monte Cristo like dungeon that they have in the basement. Like it's like okay, like.
They did. That's what I mean. Like with sequels of like, especially sequels of live action stuff that never really had a sequel to begin with in terms of like the cartoon. It always becomes, I feel like, too cartoonish itself, because it's like you're giving too much interiority and like characterization and intelligence to these animals that kind of takes away from the charm of the original. Because it's like it feels contrived, you know what I mean? Like these animals can like argue and talk with each other, but I don't know.
They have allegiances and factions.
I guess, yeah, it could even get to that point. I feel like that's happened.
Don't forget, Fluffy is a double betrayer.
Not
Oh,
really.
yeah?
Fluffy is on the side of like
I don't
dogs.
think so. I think Fluffy pretty
Fluffy-
much was never about Cruella. He never liked Cruella.
That's not true. Fluffy liked Cruella when she was Ella. When she was good, she was like, oh, that's cool. But as soon as she turned evil, she's like, I hate you. I want to, like, you're dead to me. Like, I'll kill you.
Puppies all get kidnapped and everybody starts getting carted off towards France. And then the doggy alarm system goes off again. We repeat that scene from the last movie where they start letting people know. That gets for some reason they lock Chad up with the animals, but not the Irishman. He's just gone from the film, by the way. They just executed
Oh
him
yeah,
off
that was
screen.
a weird
He is
thing.
gone.
People kind of just disappear from this movie.
Yeah, by the way, Dr. What's it, Pascal? He just doesn't show up anymore.
Pavlov.
Yeah.
No. It's Pavlov. Do you know why
Yeah.
it's Pavlov?
I know why it's Pavlov. I mixed up the names.
Oh,
So many
yeah.
people
You said Pascal. I wasn't sure if
There's
you
a
knew.
1,000 doctors with the name P who are all irrelevant to me because they're not, they're dumb and dead. But yeah, so Pavlov is off screen now. He just shuts up and never shows back up.
Pedro
No,
Pavlov.
Yeah, Pedro Pavlov.
Pavlov shows up in 2 scenes. That's different than the nurse and the Irishman. Okay, both of them have like 3 or 4 scenes.
Yeah, so they're just gone. And now we find our heroes manage to escape because the bird who thinks he's a dog sings the cops to sleep and steals their keys, so Chad and the dogs can escape. And
which is never brought up again.
Never brought up again. They just dropped the charges, even though it's breaking out of prison would be its own charge.
Breaking out of prison and some other crimes that we'll see in a bit.
Yeah, bestiality. So
what?
No.
You're right. You go to France where it's legal.
Well, at least you mentioned the crime in that one.
So they basically there's some shenanigans that happen, but they get to France. This is the summary of it. The main character doesn't have any of her puppies with her or anything like that, and somehow Oddball escapes because Oddball is
she has her puppies, doesn't she?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
Oh no, because the puppies are with the
the
evil
puppies are in France now.
Right.
They're in jail in France.
Yep.
I'm in France.
Because we finally found out who was in Paris, boys. So turns out it was 102 Dalmatians. So because Oddball is disgusting and nobody likes her, she's abandoned. But because she's the spawn of Satan, she comes back to ruin the plot for poor Cruella, our hero. She sneaks back into the car with the bird, and they somehow get transported to France without anybody noticing them on the Orient Express. I don't know why it's the Orient Express, and the Orient Express does not go there. By the way, yes, chat, somehow, and I repeat, somehow they go from London to Paris on a train.
Not only that, when they get in the car, they're also in the car and just no one notices them.
Yeah. So it's weird. I'm just going to assume that shenanigans, so we're not talking about it anymore.
That's right.
So then they get to Paris. They get to Lefeur's immigrant ranch slave factory.
Slavic immigrant ranch. Okay, we can't say immigrant.
I never thought I would say.
You have to say Slavic because if you say immigrant, they're gonna think of the wrong kind of immigrant. Okay.
Yeah. So
it was a different time. It was a different time, guys. Okay, they're Slavic. Okay. You got a lot of mamushkas and babushkas in there. Okay.
Beats. I don't the film kind of just goes through what you'd expect at this point. Obviously, you should watch it for the comedy and shenanigans, but at this point, the puppies are captured. They're almost killed a few times. They eventually get freed through through the whole just slapstick shenaniganry. Is there anything important that happens?
I kind of disagree. The one thing that I find surprising is that the guy who's been a complete simp for Cruella, who showed up every day for...
well,
I mean, we were kind of at that. We were kind of discussing the ending, so we kind of were. So at the ending, after visiting her for 3 years every day, finally he's like, you know what? I don't like this Le Pen guy. So then he has a final boss battle with him where he sends Le Pen
by
through
the
the
way,
floor,
yeah,
or
hang on.
Lapel through the floor.
That's another one that's like 100% like fundamental to my childhood. That dude's name is Alonzo, but the fact that the French dude like gets hit in the back of the head and turns around and he's like, "You are a sad, strange little man." That is like when I used to fight my siblings, we would use that line on each other all the time. Oh yeah, that's a great scene. He stands up for himself after simping for Cruella for like 2 movies.
Yep. But yeah, like other than that, it's pretty bog standard. Lapel.
Oh yeah, nobody really.
goes to jail. Cruella becomes a little muffin top, and then goes to jail as well, and then everyone's happily ever after.
Oh yeah, they get baked into a cake.
For some reason, his slave factor is next to a pie factory. But that's just how it is in France.
Yep.
Yep.
And yeah, that pretty much sums up the 2 films. Second one was a lot funnier. It's a lot more basic plot-wise.
It is very much a product of like the 2000s direct to DVD / VHS / Disney Channel movie. Like
It's a lot more
feels like that.
childish. Childish.
Mhm.
But because it's absolute insanity and because of LaFleur, I rate it a little bit higher than the other one.
Oh,
But yeah,
absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, though. And I think with that chat, we're pretty much done for today. Thank you for joining us.
All right, chat. Everybody, remember to subscribe to. I'm running out of options
Well,
here.
actually,
Who should
Black Rooney just released a video if you want to go watch it.
Did he? Nice.
Yep.
Subscribe to my story on Royal Road and read.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
there you
true.
go.
Guys, I gotta say, I'm excited. We have plans that I cannot share because the haters will sabotage me.
Yep, chat.
Oh,
We got the
I'm very
next
excited.
4 weeks of podcasts planned out and ready to go, chat. Feel good. I'm going to be streaming with Nebula in about 20 minutes or so. He needed till 9:30, he said today. So I'll be on his stream, twitch.tv/Nebula. We'll be up there in a little bit. Doing some more Builder Gate. Otherwise, thank you all so very much for joining us. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you can now donate, buy me a coffee through Ko-Fi. I would appreciate it. And otherwise, thank you guys. We'll see you later. Goodbye, chat.
We love you, chat.